Hello there Joker, hello there Tastus, how are you guys doing? How is everybody doing today? I'm playing World of Warcraft today because, to be honest, I just felt like it. And I also feel like a very positive thing about World of Warcraft is how easy it is to, I'm turning this down, sorry, how easy it is to actually talk while playing the game, which is actually quite a benefit. But I also I just felt like playing it today, and I was sort of going back and forth, like, oh, should I play retail? Well, should I play the new version? You know, the current. Oh, hey, Laughter Girl, how you doing? How you doing as well? It's been a while. It's nice to have everyone available today. I hope everything is going well. But I felt like, oh, it might be fun to go into World of Warcraft, talk a bit, see how everyone's doing. Enjoy that, so I'm going to go back over to here and then open up the game. So I've been actually in my own time every so often logging in, and I've been aiming to Mother's Day here. Oh my god, I hope it's not Mother's Day here. Isn't Mother's Day the UK? I think Mother's Day is like a few it's in April? Oh god, hang on. let me check real quick. Okay, March. You know what? Just to be nice, I'm gonna send my mum a message and say happy US Mother's Day. Is US correct? I think it is. Yes. I'm pretty sure you have mentioned you're from the US. You know, just to be extra kind, why not? I've done it. Look at that. Totally remembered there. Yes, correct. There we go. Had a nasty eye headache for the past. Oh god, that's awful. I hope you're feeling better though. Hope everyone's been alright generally as well. I actually I do these streams and stuff because I was gonna mention just because I really enjoy it. You know, it sounds obvious, but I was thinking recently I do really enjoy it. It's just fun. It's real fun. It's nice to chat to you guys, talk about video games and stuff. It's sort of like a rest for me in a way. It's like a fun rest. I've been trying to... Oh, if you're wondering why I'm just running around killing these things, it's because, again, I'm trying to get an egg. I've been trying to get this egg for ages. If I get an egg, I can hatch a thing. It takes like a month. It's a month long of quests, but you have to get this egg first, which I had in the US servers, actually, when I used to play on those. And you can get like a kind of thing, a mount basically. But I'm not like one of these people that goes for all the mounts in this game. Just this particular one I really wanted, because I used to have it, you know. But it doesn't seem to drop. I was here for like 2 hours. I'm not kidding. I think it just doesn't seem to work, which is slightly annoying. But I thought, well, I'm not just going to do this for 2 hours, but just in the beginning of the stream while we're just catching up, I thought I could have a quick go. I also used. Even though I think... Oh, ever thought of playing Fable on stream? I haven't... Oh, I might actually... That would be a good idea. I've heard it's a good game. I used to know people that really liked it. It might be fun to play the... Is it a remake they're making or a sequel? I've seen a lot of the images from that and it does look cool. That could be a fun one to try and play as well. True. There's loads of stuff, isn't there? Like Kingdom Come. It's obviously finishing Assassin's Creed 3, which I think is... honestly... Part of me wants to play Assassin's Creed 3 again today, and we will see, but I'm going to stream for about 3 hours today, so it really depends on, you know, just on what else ends up happening, you know, because I'll see, but I'm trying to limit myself, you know, but, because it's fun, it's so fun, you know. First 2 games are pretty solid, third is certainly less, I see, so the first 2, I mean, I haven't even played, like, what's another cool game I've heard of? Like Dragon Age Origins or something like that. I've got it, but I've just never played it. Like, there's so many, like, kind of core games I think I just, for whatever reason, I missed. I think you know, you prioritize certain other games. I kind of don't collect the games like the Infinity Stones or something. It's just whatever I like. I also, back in the day, just would basically only play Skyrim and then obviously The Witcher. And some multiplayer games, like very rarely though. But I think it's a sequel, and yeah, it looks great. Yeah, it does look really cool. The art style looks interesting too. I actually got some really interesting comments on my Dark Souls video, because people were saying like, oh, it was all a big joke, you know, it's not going to happen. But yet again, I use those kind of videos as a platform to talk about the possibility, because especially with all the remakes happening, even if those rumors aren't necessarily true, which I still am not entirely sure about, but It's more about the fact that, like, it is kind of interesting to think about, like, Dark Souls getting a remake, and is it even necessary? And I would say, like, it's never necessary, but at the same time, like, it's always, I get why fans would like it. I feel like with Dark Souls, though, particularly not necessary. Because, you know, they're kind of similar games, right? Like, I played Dark Souls, the remaster, not remake, I have to be careful here. And I've played a bit of Dark Souls 3 a long time back, and I've also played a bit of Elden Ring. I've played a fair amount of Demon's Souls, and what I'm trying to say is those experiences, which are not as extensive as a lot of Souls players, have kind of made me think that they're all incredibly similar games. Different, but incredibly similar. Apparently there's been leaks concerning From Software's next game, and oh, is it the pirate one? Pirates, yeah, there you go. I liked a bunch of stuff today to talk about, and that was one of them. So I've sort of preempted it. You know, a pirate game would be awesome though, because they've done so many genres, to be honest, even Bloodborne and everything. You know, like what even would you call Bloodborne? Like kind of horror, steampunky? I don't know. Sort of steampunky horror. That sounds awesome. It does sound cool. I don't think it's needed, but it'd be really cool if they did. Yeah, yeah, cool. Making Demon's Souls on PC, although Bluepoint Studios is gone now, right? I heard a lot of people, which surprised me, really didn't like the remake of Demon's Souls. I thought it was good. It looked cool. They're saying it's because of the art style. That's what they didn't like about it. But to me, I don't know. Apparently it's less stylized than the original. But to me, I thought it was quite cool. I certainly wouldn't look down on that kind of... I don't know, I enjoyed it. I don't know, I think when I played it, you know, you struggle with these games, it's kind of the purpose of these games, which always kind of makes me not... I sort of feel like it's a good idea to play them. I start playing it, and then I'm like, oh god, this is just like... so painful, you know? Like, extremely painful. But at the same time, like, that's what makes it fun, isn't it? So, I kind of get it. I love the atmosphere of the original Demon's Souls. Not the remake, the original. I think that, like, even the Dark Souls remaster, not remake, again, Dark Souls remaster to me, like, because I played all of that on stream, right? The final boss fight was so funny, because you just parry him. But, like, I really liked that, and I thought the map design was really cool. Like, it was like the very beginning of the map linked right with the end, once you get to the end, and it was just very sort of cleverly designed. You know, at least that's my feeling when I was playing. It'd be hard to replicate the atmosphere of any Souls games. Yeah, exactly. They're very similar, but all unique to like the sort of particular style, I guess, of that game, and remaking all of them to be basically like... They're very similar games, but I get like the art style and the even the sort of graphical fidelity and the changing of that can like have quite an impact. And some people were saying, well, they could like complete more of the zones, they could like enhance stuff a bit. I think if that's the goal, obviously a good idea, but at the same time, I don't know. I feel like what my point was, if you're gonna do remakes, there are certain games I feel, to me, but yet again, maybe for like hardcore Souls players, it is to them, that's something they really want, but there are certain games to me that feel like they really, really need a remake, and some that I'm like, well, they hold up pretty well, they're pretty similar to the modern versions, you know, I don't really know what you would do past that would like change the makeup of the game to such a degree that it's not really that game anymore. But if it's not really that game, but it's positive, I guess that's still cool. But I was thinking, like, for example, The Witcher 1, right? Like, The Witcher 1 is, like, good, but... And it would change the game, but it's so different from The Witcher 3. You know, it's so different that, like, a remake of that scale is... It sort of makes sense to me. Oblivion, it's like a graphical thing. Dark Souls 2, I saw the debate for, like, kind of... that's what I was thinking, a kind of graphical thing. But the remaster of Dark Souls 1 is already, like, pretty good, sort of graphically. So I was thinking, I guess it would just be, like, a mechanics thing. I feel like a lot of Dark Souls games were kind of the first of their kind. They added the feel to all of them. So to have a remake done now with current expectations would be difficult. Yeah, exactly. You know, just like, how would you maintain the uniqueness of them? Bloodborne is always the gold standard to me with Souls-like games. It's the pinnacle. I mean, it's a shame that they don't own the rights to the IP, basically, right? So they don't... It makes sense why you wouldn't want to invest in something you don't own the rights to fully. You know, it's kind of like commissioned by Sony, right? basically for the PlayStation. And then there's kind of issues with, you know, every other thing that they've produced, like Dark Souls, I guess, is the main thing, and Elden Ring now. They basically own the rights to it, don't they? So they obviously want to put more effort into the things they can actually, like, you know, not have to split all the profits on. But that's where business, like, it obviously affects creativity, and it determines what can get made. Which is a shame. You know? I did really like Dark Souls. There's something very special about those games. It just feels like you're in some sort of like mad world that doesn't like, it's like the pinnacle to me of like games that don't really give you guidance, you know, like the sort of game where you're just like, what am I doing? But arguably simpler than World of Warcraft. Like, if you compared to the modern WoW, you know, you don't have to watch guides, I'd say, in the same way if you want to like understand how. With Demon Souls, Dark Souls, etc., it's pretty obvious. Like, you just have to kill stuff, but it's really difficult to learn. You have to really think about it. Sometimes there are like so many secrets you would never know about. But that's where that difficulty, and also the story alone is like, what even is that story? You have to kind of really pay attention. You can see why I'm never getting this egg, right? Like, this is just not working. But, yeah, overcoming the challenge, yeah, the reward when you're like, oh my god, I actually beat it, amazing. And you know that everyone has had to beat it in the same way without cheat. Well, some people cheat in the sense that, like, they use a really broken build that they've looked up online. My perspective is always this: if you find a broken build through your own playing without people telling you, I kind of feel like that's legitimate. Because, you know, you found it, maybe it was an accident, maybe you experimented with things. But if it's the case that, like, you looked up online, what's the most broken build that I can just basically finish this game? To me, that, like, defeats the entire point of playing Dark Souls. Like, because why... You know, the whole point of playing Dark Souls is kind of that it is really difficult and you've got to work it out. And I'm not against, like, looking up tutorials a bit on, like, oh, how does this boss work? I'm really struggling with it. But when it's, like... decide what moves I should use, decide what armor I should pick, decide where I should go to get all this stuff, like everything. I'm kind of like, why you're not actually playing the game at that point. You're just like, you're clicking the buttons. Of course, you are playing the game, but you're not playing the game in the sense that, like, I feel like what I'm trying to say is, if you're gonna do that, why would you even play Dark Souls? You know, because the whole point is that it's, as you say, it's the challenge. You don't overcome the challenge by looking everything up and you know, getting a really broken build, you know? But again, if you find the broken build yourself, and you're like, oh, this is actually so broken, I'm doing really well, I feel like that is you overcoming that challenge. And it's not when you're looking up basically how someone else overcame that challenge, and then just doing a one-for-one, right? Like, if it's so broken that you don't have to, like, learn any of the moves, etc., and you didn't even develop that broken build, or like very minimal amount, I feel like you didn't really overcome the challenge, at least I would feel. But yet again, if that's how you want to play it, that's completely fine, but to a lot of people, you're not going to seem as, like, basically you're just going to not seem as good at the game as a lot of other people, which, you know, maybe you don't care about it. And it doesn't feel there are certain things that might not be necessarily written down in the rulebook, but it doesn't feel necessarily in the spirit of it, you know? I did have to cheese build on the final boss. Oh, but yet again, if you want to, it's up to you. I just feel that, like, obviously it's not the same as, like, basically working it out yourself, or like, yeah, just whatever that manifests as, working on it yourself. Rolling always works. It comes down to the boss if you want to learn the pattern. Broken builds won't work unless you panic rolling. So even certain I guess I've heard like, is it Mesmer in Elden Ring? Mesmer? Is that what you say? That I've heard very hard. Is it not Mesmer? Who the hell is it? It's the girl. I forget her name. Really horrible to fight, right? Yeah, because you still have to have some level of skill with it. I guess, yeah, even with the skill, like, if you have to have some level of skill with a cheese build, I'm not, like, against it. I just think if... I'm talking about those sort of builds where, like, you can kind of one-shot it, or... Not one-shot, that's probably a bit extreme. But, like, you know, it makes it substantially easier. I don't know, but yet again, if that's the level of challenge you want from a Dark Souls game, you're fine with, like, you know, getting the build online and just learning some of the moves and, like, thinking, okay, I have to still understand it a bit. I think that's fine. You've sort of, like... But I think the challenge, I guess, is very much personal to you. And it's like, if this is challenging for me and this is as much as I want from it, then I'd be like, oh, fair enough. Like, I just think for me, I'd find myself being like, oh, I haven't really, like, passed the challenge if I had to, like... Yet again, I think looking up stuff is fine, though, like, most of the time, you know. Love Messmer's fight. Melania, that's it, that's the one. The Bale fight. Oh, I really should play more of the Dark Souls games. I never finished Elden Ring, you know, and... The Dark Souls 1 is the one I've like completely finished, and including the DLC stuff. And I think it kind of scarred me slightly. And then Demon Souls, and I think recording Demon Souls was not a great idea. I think streaming it works better for that kind of medium, because going and recording it and editing all of that is like, it sort of like makes it even more stressful. You know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe looking up stuff is fine though. I mean, you know, like most of the stuff we know as humans is stuff we've looked up. I think looking up the moves, memorizing the moves, and then passing the challenge in its own way is like a challenge. You know, you've got to basically go and study to work out how to do something. You know. So yeah, in a sense, there's different ways to think about it. I guess just it isn't as impressive as someone who's just like, you know, gone and worked it all out, I guess, is the simple idea, but it's the same with anything, right? It's not as impressive as people. Like, I'm here farming this thing, and I didn't work that out. I looked up, like, oh, I got this thing randomly in the US. How do you actually get it? I don't know how I even got it. They're like, oh, you can go here and kill these things, and they will drop it. So in a sense, like, I have sort of cheated. But the challenge is that I can't get it to drop, which is where you feel the reward if you manage to do it. With Elden Ring, most bosses just weak to bleed, so it just I see. So it's not too hard. Just got to bleed them before they wallop you. So you got to sort of slowly bleed them down, basically. I feel like Elden Ring. I really like the horse mechanic in that game. That was fun. Because in Dark Souls games, it just there's nothing really like that, right? I do think the art style as well in Dark Souls, just in general, the Souls-like games, that is like some of the coolest art style ever. You know, it looks like it's been ripped from like a book, you know, like a sort of like a painting almost, right? I think I'll do this like one more time over there, then I'll do something else in this game. You know, I keep noticing on the stream, I keep like picking my nose, and it's not because I'm picking it, it's because dust, you can see, comes up off this mic when I'm talking, and it's like constantly having this bit of dust coming in my nose, and it's so uncomfortable. It feels like I'm just like constantly breathing in like little like bursts of dust. It's not like a normal thing for me to do. I'm sort of like, do I do that? I'm like, no, I don't. Of course I don't. You know, it's because it's always with these microphones. I actually remember when I was doing the Witcher videos, I'd have the same issue where I'd be like, you know, welcome back to welcome back. You know, you should get. I need to get something for it. 100%. It's just, you know. Oh, you know, time is money. No, I don't know. Time is time. Time waits for no one. Do you know what I'd like to watch? What is this? Housing level? Oh, yeah, I have a house. I kind of forgot about that. Do you know, I clicked H then because I wanted to go on my mount. Because H is the mount button in ESO, and I got slightly confused then. There's certain set pieces, Vista reveals, that are kind of the best ever. Oh, you know, I'm starting to want to play Souls games now again, which is dangerous. It's dangerous, you know. I can't be doing that right now. I've got too many other things. I also don't think Elden Ring would run. That's the tongue twister. Elden Ring would run on this computer. But maybe like Dark Souls 3 probably would. I'm not gonna do the Dark Souls 1 again for quite some time. But I know a lot of Souls players, like, they just play those games, right? Welcome back to The Witcher 3. Yeah, no, it's right in my... Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Do you know, it started off as, like, I actually didn't know what part I was on. I'd be like, welcome back to The Witcher 3 part 20, I'm pretty sure we're on. Like, I actually didn't know, because it got so many, you know? And then after a while, of course I knew, but I was just like, this is, like, the intro now. Like, I have to say it, you know? It's like... And to be honest, it was getting really confusing with Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine. Again, Because, you know, in Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, like, I didn't... It was like, welcome back to part, like, 7 of Hearts of Stone and part, like, 59 of, like, The Witcher 3. I don't even know if when The Witcher 3 expansion comes out. I don't even know how many parts are at the end of all of that. Yeah, it got so confusing. It was so confusing. I just absolutely no idea. I've actually been on the VOD channel, so I don't know if you guys know, but on the Twitch you can see there's a VOD channel, and I'm putting all the live streams there every time I stream because I've lost so many live streams by basically just forgetting to re-upload it. And you know, that's where we play games, where we have these interesting conversations, and I like end up losing them because Twitch deletes them after like 2 weeks or something because I'm not a partner on Twitch, right? You need like certain requirements to get there. Yeah, so they're all going on that VOD channel, which is you can find it by, you know, it's on the Twitch page. Basically, if you read my Twitch page, there's a channel where it says all the VODs go. I've been doing that for ages. I just keep forgetting. I never mention it. It's mainly for me, you know, so I can honestly, just so I can look back at it, and if there's any video I want to make from it or something, I haven't just thought, oh, like I missed like the first like 2 parts of the Indiana Jones playthrough, and I went to upload them, and I realized they've been deleted, and I was like, well, that's gone. But the rest of them are there, at least. But all of Assassin's Creed 3 is on there, and I put some thumbnails on there today just because I was kind of like, why not? Yeah, so now there's other playthroughs is what I'm trying to say. They're not like, you know, the 4K proper like recorded thing, but it's basically what I'm doing on here. To be honest, the process is pretty much identical. It's just you guys are also here, you know, that, and you know, it's not 4K or whatever, but I don't think that's too important every time. So Assassin's Creed 3 is on there. All these like World of Warcraft, ESO, everything else is on there too. So it's just, yeah, just in case you're ever curious about like something that happened like months before or something, and you're like, oh, what was that again? You can always find it. There you go. And yeah, 720p is fine. Yeah, you don't need 4K. The only reason I started switching over to 4K, to be honest, is I wanted to like future-proof stuff. More LinkedIn evidence of The Witcher 3 came out today, apparently. You know, I saw some of this too. So I've also there's a bunch of stuff to talk about today, to be honest, like so much stuff. And to be honest, I'm getting sick of killing these things. It's really I don't think I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna be honest. I just don't think it's gonna happen. I've been doing this for like, at this point, months. You know, I don't know why they just don't drop this egg. You know, it's meant to drop an egg, but they just. I don't know. I feel like this is the sort of thing, I can do it in my own time. But at the same time, I am kind of talking, so it's okay. Hang on. I'm gonna kill these ones, and then I'm gonna stop and do something else on this game, instead of just killing these things again and again and again. I do wonder if I could kill the Shah of Anger again. Probably not worth it. To be honest, I wanted to level up my Worgen, my original, which you might remember, Laughter Girl, from way back in the day. Okay, I'm going to go on him. It takes 20 seconds, give it a minute. Also read, probably yes, that said, read, oh my god, read, not read. You know, it's actually, you can read it both ways, so. Read, probable BS, that CD Projekt Red promo packages started going out to Polish influencers. Well, I have not received any of these packages. I've had some contact with CD Projekt Red in the past, but I guess I'm not Polish. You know, very minimal. But little things here and there, just here and there, up and down, left and right. Where's my? Where is he? There he is. Catch up available. What level is he again? Level 50. What's this? 70 boost. I could boost him. I could boost him up. Yeah, why not? Let's boost him up. Boom. Marksman, Beast Mastery. I think he was always marksman who excel in bringing down enemies from afar. A master of the wild who can tame a variety of beasts to assist them in combat. I actually regret. Oh, that's no problem, Laughter Girl. That's no problem. You can just lurk away, you know. Feel free. I'm just gonna check like what like the current meta is for WoWs, because I don't want to like, you know, just pick the wrong one. I always use marksman though. I might just, yeah. Oh, it says marksman is currently the best. Okay, let's stick with marksman. That's what I remember all the abilities. Okay, let's do it. He was my first character when I moved back over to the European stuff. Although I can't see him. Can I like move him so I can see? I have mail. How does one do this? There he is. That's my wolf there. Catch-up experience recommended. Pick up where you left off. I could do the catch-up experience just to like. No, I don't want to do the catch-up experience. I hate catch-up experience. I just want to play the game. If the anniversary comes out and goes with no news, I can't lie. Yeah, me too. Me too. I think this is going to be the time. It's going to happen. Everyone knows it's going to happen. The expansion is going to happen, and it's the best time to do it. What? Oh, okay. Hang on. It just reloaded my character, I think. It kind of glitched out. All the music even disappeared. But Laughter Girl's lurking. However, ages ago when I was leveling this character, possibly I finished leveling on stream. It was with this guy. Although I don't even know what is going on. I need to fix his bars. We're back in Stormwind. I can't actually see anything here. There's too much going on. I need my... there's just so much happening here. Like, I can't even begin to understand. I've forgotten most of, like, the mechanics. I've also lost all my stuff. What? What is this? I just got a bunch of stuff I basically don't need. I got a... okay. Maybe I can, like, hang on. I actually have a bunch of stuff in this game. Shift P, there you go. So I need to get my mounts immediately. Where is my... It's called Clutchov. I have two. I have this one and this one. This one is the one I like the most. It's kind of like an autumny, cool... It's a wolf, I do... Yeah, I got a... It's called... Hound? That's not my pet. Hang on, I'm gonna have to change it. He is a werewolf. One moment. I gotta adjust all this. This is an absolute mess now. I also need the big mount, the, what is it called? Yak? It's a yak, that's it. The Grand Expedition Yak. There you go. First things first, I need to fix my armor because I look terrible. Where is it? I made a custom set. Trying two. There's this one and then this one. This was the one I was currently using, kind of ranger looking set. That one is terrible. I need to... Hang on. I need to adjust some stuff because this does not look great. It looks okay. It looks okay. Maybe that one is better. This one? Where is it? Maybe? Or I kind of like that one. The under armor looks cool. Maybe hold The Witcher 4 for the Game Awards. Yeah, true. I mean, they might do both. They might just be like, hey guys, anniversary. Witcher 3, Witcher remake. That's another one that people aren't talking about, to be fair. There's got to be some news for that at some point. I mean, it's been long enough, you know? I feel like that's been kind of silent for quite a while. Wormstalker Tunic. Does it look good? Looks awful. I'm just going to go with the current set and I can adjust it later. I think for now I'm just going to... Yeah. Do I have shoes? Okay, I already basically, like, it's what I've got. It's what I've got. Okay, let's I don't know how one saves this. I do actually wonder if I can adjust my cloak slightly because the color is... It's good, but it's a little bit, like, it doesn't quite match with that, does it? It's probably the best one I've got, though. Okay, let's save this. I'll claim it for free.
May your feet find good trails.
There you go. Here he is. So this is my Worgen guy. He was the original back in the day. I haven't played him for a while. I need to check all my abilities so I can actually play him. So I actually want to make his abilities very similar to how I play on Classic WoW, because I do have a Classic WoW version of him. There's just so many. Like, this is the problem with WoW when you've got like hundreds and hundreds of things, you know? It's really hard to like command an eagle, okay, like this kind of thing, you know? It's just too much. It's too much. I think what I need to probably do, I don't know if we talked about it, but how are you feeling about Strider's Jamie Dornan, his recast is Jamie Dornan, I think that's him. His recasting for the Hunt for Gollum. I feel like it's a good thing that like how do I say? I think in general I feel that the Hunt for Gollum is incredibly unnecessary, because the thing about the Hunt for Gollum is that it's not in the books really. Like the way that it actually exists is it doesn't really happen in the books. It's like a line, right? And there's some brief discussion about like what Strider did, and I feel like there isn't enough there for a film without incredible like embellishment, inventing whole new stories, everything else, right? So inherently, I'm already slightly put off by that, right? And then on top of that, they can't get Viggo Mortensen because basically he doesn't want to do it. He said, from what I've heard, that it just isn't something he's interested in. It basically just like it's loads of things. Apparently, they said that he would only do it if there was a good enough script, so he's decided not to do it. And then in addition, he said that I think he just like it could be related to being a bit older. I don't know. There's oh yeah, Geralt. It's called Geralt. Where is he? I did it for fun. How do I get Geralt? How do I don't know how this... Can I dismiss him? I don't even know why I have like a... Unbreakable bond? What? What the how do you get rid of this? I can't dismiss him. Why can't I dismiss him? I'll check that out in a moment. Oh, hey, Punivia. Hello, we've had a chat before. I've seen you over on X. It's nice to see you here too. What was I saying about the not Rings of Power, the Hunt for Gollum? I really like Peter Jackson, but I'm also like quite concerned about, for example, like there's been some other concerning things, like having Stephen Colbert make a show, because yet again, he knows a lot about Lord of the Rings, but that doesn't qualify you to like make an adaptation of it. Like, just because you know a lot about something doesn't therefore mean you're going to make the best possible version of something. You know what I mean? I think there's debate there for things, and there's always like a difficulty basically with having, even if you like something, it doesn't mean therefore you're going to be like incredible at being able to like actually adapt it. I'm getting slightly distracted by on the screen. Is that one of you guys? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. You look cool. He's gone. Okay. I don't know. He says, farts loudly, that stinks, laughs at you. And he's gone. Nice. I know tons about Lord of the Rings. It doesn't mean I need to be in charge. Exactly. And also, like, he hasn't done any other kind of, like, films, TV, anything before. Doesn't seem to have some, like, specific interest in filmmaking. Just likes Lord of the Rings, basically, right? You know? So... That's a cool mount, though. So I was so yeah, I'm kind of concerned about him, like ever so slightly. Like I just feel like there's some other things he's done, which I feel that when people are really, really, really into politics, I'm always concerned. Like any type, any vein of the politics, I think that, and that becomes like their way of interacting with the media. I do always feel like some concern about that, you know, because I think that I hope that you just care enough about the material to be like, it doesn't actually matter what my political opinion is, what does the author want to say? And that's my goal with adapting or even engaging in the world that author has made. I feel like you've got to keep that in mind. And I do think it would be a bit strange having Viggo run around as Aragorn. It would be really weird. But they could do something like, you know, the Harrison Ford stuff with the Dial of Destiny, which I haven't seen the Dial of Destiny, but I've seen the clips of Harrison Ford de-aged. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. I'm actually not against this whole like recasting, getting a new young actor in to tell a story that hasn't been told. Like they did it with Harrison Ford and Han Solo as well, right? Like a long time ago with the Solo film, and I forget the actor's name, but I thought he was pretty good. He just wasn't Harrison Ford. which is like, for a lot of people, it's just hard to get past it. And I think it's the same with people for Viggo Mortensen, because he is Aragorn for so many people. Like, just even if you want to recast him, it's odd when every other actor is the same, apart from Aragorn, who's so key. It's not like a remake. It's like it's meant to be, this is part of the same universe, like the same, you know, but he looks so different, you know? So I think a lot of people just immediately feel kind of off-put by that, right? Like, you know, if we look at like an image of him or something, I'll see if I can get something up. You can see immediately that he's better than the guy that everyone thought was going to be Aragorn. What is it? Jamie. I'm gonna find it, then I'll load it up. Jamie Dornan. He was in 50 Shades of Grey, right? And he's been in some other stuff, but he's a better choice than I think. Like, out of every current working actor that I'm aware of, he's probably, you know, one of the better choices for sure. But, you know, I just don't think he's not Viggo Mortensen, and it's going to be obvious he's not Viggo Mortensen. And I feel like that's what people are going to be incredibly concerned about. I want to find like where they've discussed this. Okay, here we go. There's an article here which I can have a quick look at, which might be interesting to talk about this. I'm just loading it up. I have to adjust some things momentarily. So many tabs, you know, it's always hard. Doop. Okay, I've got another one too. There you go. So, Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum confirms lineup, including Jamie Dornan as Aragorn. And then maybe this one is slightly better to read it. Yeah, we'll go with that one. One Aragorn casting rumor went to Deadline. Another Strider was told to THR, and more still came into Variety, The Wrap, even Empire, but they were all of them deceived. Yes. Okay, anyway. So you've got Jamie Dornan. There was that other guy who everyone thought was going to play Aragorn, who just didn't fit whatsoever, but it turns out he's playing some original Ranger character they're making. But yeah, so they've got Jamie Dornan, he's coming, he's going to be Aragorn, and then they've also got Ian McKellen back, Elijah Wood, Lee Pace, who was Thranduil, who I really liked, Kate Winslet as a new original character. I think that's who Marigold is. I'm not entirely sure. I'm assuming you're an original character. Who is his hobbit grandmother, which is odd because Smeagol is not a hobbit. He's one of the river folk, right? Anyway. Apparently in Tolkien's Legendarium, I did not know Marigold was actually a canon character, but that's interesting. But certainly not as developed as I imagine she'll be in this work. Leo Woodall, that was who everyone thought was going to play Aragorn, but they didn't. As just a Dunedain guy. I don't know if he's what he'll be doing, but Halvard, believed to be one of the Rangers of the North accompanying Strider on his hunt, and of course, Serkis himself, who is pulling double, triple duty as director and Gollum or Smeagol, yes. So the hunt for Gollum is set to find Aragorn and Gandalf seeking out the titular creature of cunning, looking for information on Bilbo Baggins' ring in the span of time between Bilbo's birthday party from the Fellowship of the Ring and the burgeoning Fellowship's arrival at the Mines of Moria. So across two trilogies, a mark of a Middle-earth film has always been the formidable array of talent brought to bear in every role, said Serkis, yes, and then yeah, it's going to be a Middle-earth adventure with a strong psychological interior story. I think it's going to be basically going a lot of like Gollum's internal thought processes and everything like that, which I'm not against it, but I just feel like the purpose of the Lord of the Rings trilogy for everyone is just, it's so perfect how it was. Like, you had these three amazing films, miracles basically. They were at like the perfect cusp of there being CGI available, but still using practical effects, and it's sort of like that story in my mind is untouchable, and anything you want to add to it, like, sure, cool, if it fits, I guess, but at the same time, very, very unnecessary. You know, like, we don't need it, basically, is how I feel. But again, I'm not like, you can't make anything, this is the end. I'm more sort of like, make it, but my headcanon, I might not include it. Like, everyone has their own headcanon, and I've been talking about this idea a lot, and I really do conform to it. Like, when they made the three original Lord of the Rings films, they never thought of this, so therefore, to me, it doesn't exist. If they've now retroactively adding it, it doesn't mean I have to be like, oh yeah, this happened, right? Yeah, this is the canon. Yeah, Jamie Dornan was also Aragorn. It's like, well, no, actually, like, I can accept those three films for how they were originally made, and be like, yep, that's the end of that. And the Hobbit films I also accept. I really like them, to be honest. I mean, there's some bad elements of them, but I enjoyed them. Extended, I think, is slightly worse in some areas because there's a lot of bloat. But generally like those, like Lord of the Rings films, I think that's enough for me. If this is a good story and it's made well and it's interesting, sure, I can add it. Why not? The Stephen Colbert one I'm incredibly skeptical of. I think they're going to have Sam's daughter be the hero of the story and have Sam, Merry, and Pippin retrace their steps. It just sounds really boring and pointless. The Lord of the Rings had an epic story. The Hobbit had a story that they tried to make epic. It didn't work as well, but it's still cool enough as a story. The Gollum thing, I'm wondering how they're going to make... What is going to be the set piece of that, or what is going to be the main beats of it that allow people to think, oh, this is going to be such a cool moment in that. If you think about the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit, there's obvious moments fans can think of that are really cool, like Bilbo meeting Smaug, or burning down Lake Town, or the trolls turning to stone, stuff like that. With this one, I'm sort of what, they look for Gollum, they can't find Gollum, they meet Thranduil, they find Gollum eventually, I guess. They learn about Gollum's past. I'm it doesn't really seem as it seems like something you'd have in a larger film, That's why the Lord of the Rings trilogy they left yeah, exactly. He just said, we're adapting Tolkien's story and what he wants to say. That's it. They were truly trying to honor Professor Tolkien. Yeah, exactly. Peter Jackson pulled it. He did. They're right. 100%. He pulled a complete miracle. The fact that those films came together, the fact he adapted it that well, without it being the mess it could have been, is so impressive. It's so impressive. And it's the fact that, of course, people had a lot of disliking towards it because they had to miss things and they removed certain things. But at the end of the day, they did the best they could. I actually hope we see Sauron's imprisonment of Gollum. We know that Smeagol meets him in Barad-dûr, sees his hand, that's missed. Yet again, I think it'd be really cool to see Sauron and all this stuff, but again, in the original Lord of the Rings films, I think it's really good that we don't see Sauron. I love the fact that, this villain that does exist, he's meant to be kind of more decrepit and restoring his health right over time, and they were going to have a fight with Aragorn at the end, but they decided to remove it because it's actually cooler to have it as a psychological element of of course there's this big bad, but the ring really embodies all of what Sauron is, and the eye as well, and these kind of symbols. I think they did a really good job with that. And then if they just suddenly oh, here's actually Sauron, he's walking around, he's cool, which is probably closer to parts of how the book was, but I also feel the film did its own very unique thing with it, and it kept in the spirit of what you read the Lord of the Rings. I've been rereading Lord of the Rings. I mentioned, and I was I went back. I'm reading it, and I went back because I thought I want to read it more carefully. I've got it here, and it was the bit on Weathertop, and compared to the films, of course, I was sort of reflecting on this yesterday, and I think that the way that Weathertop is described is. It's sort of it's mythical, basically. There isn't really this big fight sort of set piece. There's a bit of discussion at the end, but it's Frodo is sort of getting consumed by the ring. It's taking him to a degree, and these wraiths, he sees them. The way he describes the ring wraiths is so kind of creepy, I'll see if I can find it. He says yeah. Over the lip of the little dell, on the side away from the hill, they felt, rather than saw, a shadow rise, one shadow or more than one. They strained their eyes, and the shadows seemed to grow. Soon there could be no doubt 3 or 4 tall black figures were standing there on the slope, looking down on them. So black were they that they seemed like black holes in the deep shade behind them. Frodo thought that he heard a faint hiss, as of venomous breath, and felt a thin, piercing chill. Then the shapes slowly advanced. Terror overcame Pippin and Merry, and they threw themselves flat on the ground. Sam shrank to Frodo's side. Frodo was hardly less terrified than his companions. He was quaking as if he was bitter cold, but his terror was swallowed up in a sudden temptation to put on the ring. The desire to do this laid hold of him, and he could think of nothing else. He did not forget the barrow, nor the message of Gandalf, but something seemed to be compelling him to disregard all warnings, and he longed to yield. Not with the hope of escape, or of doing anything, either good or bad. He simply felt that he must take the ring and put it on his finger. He could not speak. He felt Sam looking at him as if he knew that his master was in some great struggle for a while, but resistance became unbearable. Oh no, some great trouble, but he could not turn towards him. He shut his eyes and struggled for a while, but resistance became unbearable, and at last he slowly drew out the chain and slipped the ring on his forefinger of his left hand. Immediately, though, everything else remained as before, dim and dark. The shapes became terribly clear. He was able to see beneath their black wrappings. There were 5 tall figures, 2 standing on the lip of the dell, 3 advancing. In their white faces burnt keen and merciless eyes. Under their mantles were long grey robes, upon their grey hairs were helms of silver, in their haggard hands were swords of steel. Their eyes fell on him and pierced him as they rushed towards him. Desperate, he drew his own sword, and it seemed to him that it flickered red, as if it was a firebrand. 2 of the figures halted, the third was taller than the others, and his hair was long and gleaming, and on his helm was a crown. In one hand he held a sword, and in the other a knife. Both the knife and the hand that held it glowed with a pale light. He sprang forward and bore down on Frodo. At that moment Frodo threw himself on the ground, and he heard himself crying aloud, "O Elbereth, Gilthoniel." At the same time he struck at the feet of his enemy. A shrill cry rang out in the night, and he felt a pain like a dart of poisoned ice pierce his left shoulder. Even as he swooned, he caught, as though through a swirling mist, a glimpse of Strider leaping out of the darkness with a flaming brand of wood in either hand. With a last effort, Frodo, dropping his sword, slipped the ring from his finger and closed his right hand tight upon it. So it's quite different, right, to the film. Like, you know, in the film you have this set piece. I mean, it's similar. Of course, it's very similar. But even then, like the journey of them being on Weathertop to the ring race coming up is very like, it's like all the other hobbits collapse and they just slowly advance. It's not like they climb up the top and everything like that. It's like they just come, and they don't even. He doesn't really explain like where did Strider go, because he was with them. He told them to put their backs to the fire, and the reason they do that is because the way Tolkien is writing The Lord of the Rings is it's all based on like Anglo-Saxon myth and these really old stories. You know, he was the professor of, was it Anglo-Saxon history, something like that, of English Anglo-Saxon history. He wanted it to be like a legend almost, and all of this is meant to be almost sort of a diary, right? Like they're writing the story. So it's not like a direct account of like, and then they climbed up the hill and then Strider went off to go and get some fire and he told them to wait. It's kind of this mythical, like psychological thing. And I feel that the films did an incredible job of capturing that, because, you know, they kind of filled in parts to make it slightly more realistic, and it's an art form in itself to adapt these things well. And if you read that and you watch the film, you can think, yeah, that captured that feeling. When Frodo puts on the ring, he falls, he puts on the ring, and he sees their figures, you know, and you can feel that dread, and then, you know, Strider comes and attacks them, right? And it's great. It's great. It's just very well done, and I feel that I feel like because they had that incredible source material, that's why a lot of these things do well. And when you start to deviate and fill things in, like with some aspects of The Hobbit, it can get worse, you know. And I think that's what I'm concerned about with this project, and also the fact that Viggo Mortensen, I don't think there could have been a better Aragorn, and he was the last person hired. And it's not just me like it's just the way he connected with the material, the way that he wasn't this like typical young handsome guy or something like that. He's a handsome guy, I'm not saying he's not, but I'm saying like he wasn't like the typical heartthrob, right? He was like a guy, you know. And I feel that like Jamie Dornan is a good choice if you're going to choose anybody, but again, like you're putting him into material that didn't really exist in the same way. Also, The Hobbit should have just been 2 movies. The first one should have ended at the arrival. Yeah, it should have. First one ends at the arrival of the Lonely Mountain. You have everything with Smaug. You have the burning of Lake Town. You have less of a sort of battle with the 5 armies, and then, you know, Thorin's death. And it would have been, yeah, better. Way better. I don't need to, like, see him in all his glory, but have him creeping around the fortress. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Like, having Sauron's just, like, his... I'd like if it... You know what I'd like? If they have him, like, from the back. You know, and you can see a little bit... You never see his face, or he's always in the shadow. But I get what you mean, like a kind of creepy figure. That could still maintain it. The Black Breath knocks them out, doesn't it? Or was that the... Yeah, like there's kind of an implication of sort of getting injured. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm not like so against it. I think Jamie Dornan, if you're gonna pick anyone, he's pretty good. He's a good choice by any means. Like if you look at the Is there any images I can open up here? Is it still showing my screen well? Yeah, there you go. You know, this is like an edit on Reddit to rhyme it well. I don't know where the edit is disappeared. But anyway, I don't know if that's showing on the screen well. But yeah, you can kind of see it. He's not like a bad choice by any means. I just think it doesn't really compare to Viggo Mortensen, right? This is an edit of him to look more like him, the top left one here. I've not seen me anything, just know he's in 50 Shades of Grey guy. Well, you know, we could have a quick look at, like, is there any kind of video of him doing something? Jamie Dornan, like, is there, like, best scenes? Oh, that could be really bad if I don't... no, not that one. Is there any that isn't 50 Shades of Grey? There's some cool... What was he in again? God, I've forgotten all of what he was in. He's in movies and TV. What was he in again? He was in something. I've forgotten the name. Haunting of Venice. He was in like TV shows, wasn't he? Let's have a look. Belfast. Maybe The Haunting of Venice. Is that what's his like best stuff? Oh, this was it was Death and Nightingales was a good thing. No. Maybe it was this. Maybe this is the one that's... No, not this. It's definitely not this. Belfast? Is that the one? I'm going to be honest. I haven't actually seen this stuff. I've seen clips of him. I just can't remember what it was actually in. Maybe something like this. Like, something like that. I don't know. I think there's interviews with him as well where he seems like a pretty interesting guy, generally. Like, not like... a lot of it is the look, right? Is there, like... Hang on, let me have a look. I don't want to see this like video of him. Like I'm not going to watch this whole thing because I'm probably going to get copyright claimed by the BBC. But just to have a brief look at how he is as a person.
Sleep eat? You don't sleep eat.
Probably not.
No, but you do sleepwalk.
Listen, that I'm aware of. I've sleptwalked once in my life. I was about 11 or 12.
See, he seems like a sort of alright guy as well. It's just about finding... I don't know what is going on with the music, by the way. It's just about, like, finding Gollum, basically, isn't it? He's not been in a lot of stuff, I think, but he's... Oh, God, I don't like seeing that top one there. Discover this, maybe, is a good scene? Let's have a look. When your boy... Oh, okay. This doesn't bode well so far.
Elliot Stanley. That's your name, is it not?
I'm sorry, I don't...
Ethan Crumb.
Ethan Crumb? What the fuck?
I'm not here to hurt you, if that's what you're worried about.
No, I wasn't thinking you were...
Where is...
Well, he seems fine, doesn't he? I mean, it's not like the most incredible acting in the world, but he's... When he's given... Okay, someone says he put some great work in The Fall, The Tourist, Belfast. Let's have a look. Jamie Dornan, The Fall. Let's investigate this as a group here. The Fall, The Best of Paul and Stella. I'm not so interested in The Best of Paul and Stella. I don't know. What about this?
The Hard Man. Useless waste of space.
Okay, this isn't him yet.
Men and women express grief differently, Liz. Try not to make comparisons.
He does have that kind of stoic feeling to him,
How
you know.
long am I going to feel like this, Paul?
Oh, okay, I don't want to see that. Whoa, that was okay. Anyway, he seems kind of stoic and interesting in a way. He's okay. He's okay. When Gandalf... Hang on. Why is he always in some weird thing? It's set in the first half of a Fellowship. Yeah, when Gandalf leaves... Yeah, exactly, yeah. Actually, why Legolas goes to Rivendell is to report that Gollum escaped after an orc raid. I see. So there is... Maybe... I don't think he's not going to be in it, though, is he? Maybe Thranduil will sort of, like, have some element to that. I do think Thranduil is, like, really cool, you know. I'm happy that we get more of Thranduil. Like, I do like him. I don't know. I think he's cool. Let's have a look at the quick scene pack here. I don't want to look too much, just very briefly. I'm going to mute it, because audio is where they get you. He looks cool. At least he looks like an elf. I mean, look at the Rings of Power. Like, barely any of them actually look like elves. You know? He's cool. I always like Thranduil. Awesome. He's got a great look to him. He looks elvish. This whole CGI thing is where I think people had a lot of issues, because it's so CGI, you know. They didn't even bother to, like, mix it, basically. Like, that is obviously CGI behind him. You can just tell. Like, look at them. They don't look like people. And I think that's where a lot of people saw these issues, you know? And this just looks like so CGI, right? Which is kind of the issue. It doesn't age as well as Lord of the Rings, right? Pretty carry that. Yeah, I mean, he's still... Thranduil's awesome, though. I do, you know, I'm not like a Hobbit series hater. You know, I do quite like The Hobbit. I just think it's obviously not... It's not Lord of the Rings, you know, but that's what The Hobbit is. It's just not Lord of the Rings. But anyway, I feel like we talked about that quite a lot. A Tauriel, less Hobbit. Yeah, that would be good as well. Yet again, I don't dislike Tauriel. I just felt this kind of love triangle with a dwarf was, like, unbelievably unnecessary. I feel like I was getting a bunch of, like, weird notifications in the game when I was stood around. I also don't know why I can't dismiss this dog. Yeah, the romance plot was odd. There is some, like, just weird stuff in this. I'm just checking quickly while I'm on WoW. Just you can bear with while I'm doing this. I'm trying to work out, like, how I can actually, like get the right talents, because I don't have, like, any talents on this character, so I basically can't do anything. Okay, I'm using this one. See, this is what I said before about just doing stuff with online stuff, but to be honest, like, you know, this is how WoW works. It's part of the game, you know. Other people put so much time to this game to work this stuff out, and part of WoW is not necessarily to, like, make your own build unless you're super into the game. I feel it's you just kind of have to follow what someone else says. To be completely honest, I can't find it on my phone, so let's have a look at, like, I don't know, one moment. Let me just do this for 10 seconds. I'm going to load it up. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. What am I in? I'm in WoW Midnight, and then I can actually do stuff in this game. I've been having issues with this recently, getting it all to load well. It is a bit of an issue. It's slightly slow. I do feel like, you know, I still enjoy watching The Hobbit, and I feel like it definitely captures the spirit of Lord of the Rings, and I like Peter Jackson. The thing that really made me concerned about The Hunt for Gollum more than anything is not just, like, the story being unnecessary and everything like that. It was more the fact that, like they got Stephen Colbert to make a show, you know, and I'm not... I don't want to be, like, this hater or something like that, because, like, you know, maybe he'll be really good. Who knows? I just really have this kind of feeling that, you know, he's not the right guy to do it. Okay, I'm going to load it back up. Okay, you're basically going to see me going back and forth here trying to learn what these talents are. Alternatively, I could take a photo on my phone. Okay, I got to remember 3, 3, 2, 3. 3, 3, 2, 3. That's the best way to do this. So I have to do talents here. So this is how you do it in WoW. You see, it's an absolute mess. I'm just going to unselect everything so I know what I have to get. Dun 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 dun. 3, 3, 2. So I don't need that. 2, 3. That's the best way. 3, 3, 2, 3. Oop. Okay. 3, 3, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. 4, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. What? I can't do that. 4, 3. Which 3? Rhino, fire, touch of grass. So maybe I should try that one day. Okay. Oh, I need to do 2 of these. And then 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. I get that right? Oh no, I got the wrong one there. There you go. 1, 2, 3. And then finally 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Oh, I think it's this one. I've run out of talents though, somehow. I don't even know how I've managed to run out of talents because 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Oh, because I'm not max level on this character too. So I still have to do that eventually, but for now that is fine. Now I have to get the this other one right here. Do 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 do. This is how you do WoW. I'm teaching you guys the ways. Smaug is oh yeah. Yeah, Smaug is awesome. I always just, whenever I want to show anyone like how cool the Hobbit is, all the stuff with Smaug is amazing. Benedict Cumberbatch did an amazing job. And I also agree with you, Martin Freeman, perfect Bilbo. Basically, you couldn't have got a better Bilbo, right? Which is, you know, what more could you want, really? And I think the swords are really well designed too. I know that's like probably like not some significant thing for people, but for me that was like a big thing. I was kind of like, oh, I love these swords. Trick shots, avian. I just did that completely randomly, and I think I nailed it. Trick shots, avian. Yeah, look at that. Okay, next one would be 1, 2, and then tenacious. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, tenacious. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. One headshot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, unerring vision, and then that. Okay. See, I can only get 1 there. Right, and then 3, 4. See, somehow I've got 2 skill points left there. So I can now do 1. Is there an ability? 1, 2. But I've run out of actually like abilities here, and I can't even do that yet. Well, that's what I can do for now, at the very least. Oh, yeah, or Glamdring. I really think, honestly, I've got this sword. I've got Glamdring, and I've also got Unduil as well, of course. But I really think I would say, if I open it up, hang on. Let me open this. You'll see. This sword is awesome, and I'm gonna type it in. I don't want to reveal it yet. Okay. Orcrist. It's Orcrist. I love Orcrist. You know, Thorin uses it. Legolas uses it. It just looks so cool. I love Orcrist. It just looks like a cleaver. You know, because I guess it is kind of a cleaver. You know, it just looks awesome. I love the design of it. It's so like kind of heavy looking, but also kind of like just, I can't explain why I like it so much. You know, oh, I've been blocked by trying to open that there. Buyingasword.com. But look at it. I just love it. It's awesome. Although the one I have is by the Noble Collection, which is my favorite. They have a shop in London, and I love this place. I've got I don't know if they even sell it anymore, but this is the one I've got. The Goblin Cleaver, yeah, exactly. Sorry, no longer, maybe they don't sell it anymore, but this is the one I've got. And I've also Glamdring by the same. Sting I don't have by them, it's by a different one. Wow, it's so expensive. It used to be, it wasn't that expensive when I got it, I swear. $230. Yeah, they don't make it anymore, but this is the one that I've got back home, actually. And I was so happy to get it. I love it. Yeah, the antler handle. Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? Isn't it just awesome? It's such an awesome sword. I feel like I would also... Ooh, which other sword would I say is really cool? Honestly, I just always think of Orcrist. I just... whenever I think of swords in Lord of the Rings, I just think Orcrist, I guess, yeah, Anduil, Flame of the West, right? Like, kind of famous one as well. Gimli's axe is kind of cool. It's not a sword, but it's just cool. I just love the idea that it... Obviously Sting, but, like, you know... Awesome. Forged in Gondolin, right? Like, that was the whole story of them, and... Oh. Yeah, Glamdring is also awesome. Or Theoden's sword. I can't remember the name, but Theoden's sword is cool too, to be fair. Praise in your dark. I love that Anglichel is basically a sentient weapon. Let's have a look at Anglichel. Anglichel. Sentient weapon. You know, in World of Warcraft, like, the whole story now about the Midnight, there's an elf taking over. She was a weapon for a while, like a dagger that was sentient and could talk to you in Legion. She was like a special weapon, so it's definitely taken. Oh, Thingol owned this. Luthien's father, right? And also, like, incredibly famous elven king. Very cool. Anglachel. Renamed Guthang, was a sword wrought by Iol, the Dark Elf. It was crafted with his mate Anguriel from the same iron meteorite. There is malice. The dark heart of the smith still dwells in it. It will not love the hand it serves, and it will not abide you for long. It was renamed. That was a pretty cool sword, to be fair. Very cool. I like it. Andril. Awesome sword too. Flame of the West. I like that. I like that kind of like sentient sword that that preys on your interests. I gotta close some of this stuff. Right. Well, there you go. Let's play a bit more. Play a bit more WoW, and then there's a few more things. I've got a few more hours of streaming, so there's a few more things I'd love to chat about. In fact, I want to get rid of my pet, and I don't know how. That's another thing I need to learn how to do. Normally, you can just dismiss them, but it doesn't seem to be working. I
need to target something first.
Okay. I also need to work out like abilities and where everything is going, because gonna be honest, slightly confused. I need to go out into the wilderness and like fight something just to briefly practice. Okay, let's try this. Oh, actually, there's another thing I want. You can only do this while mid-air? What? Oh, it's because all my abilities are just the complete wrong way around again. Oh, I can't drag it from there, sure. Clutch of Jikun. Whack it there. I've forgotten. Let me see. I need to like remember. I think this is meant to be. Where's the like surge forward is 1. Second wind is 2. Maybe this is fine. I don't know. Yeah, kind of works. Kind of works. The swords are important. Oh, like I actually have Longclaw. That's what I have. But after the Game of Thrones ending was so crap, I took it down. I should put it back up. Ice is awesome, which was then turned into Widow's Wail and the other one, which I've now forgotten, annoyingly enough. Always kind of annoyed me how little attention. Yeah, I mean, because they're awesome. What is Dark Sister? That's Daemon's, isn't it? Love Daemon. Best character. They try to make us hate you, Daemon. They can't do it. I love the new flying in WoW. They've done a really good job. What is my button? F12? F11. There you go. It's my ranger character. He's cool, isn't he? Boop. So he can. This guy can also turn into a human. Somehow. Pet. Where is the dismiss? I actually want to... Oh, I've already got that on, sure. Where's dismiss? There is none. General skywriting style, I'll put that there. Okay, that's the one I want. Oh, I also want that in T. To be honest, none of that needs to be there. 2 forms. Don't need any of that. Do that. Alright, right, this is what I want to show you. Is it this? Calm the wolf. Activate to control your Worgen instincts and automatically assume human form. Ah, okay. There you go. So if I have that on, that basically... There you go. I'm now human again. How does one sheath the weapon? I don't know what I've bound that to. Key bindings. Interface. Sheath weapon. Weapon toggle. Toy box. Nope, that's not the one. Mount journal. Friends pane. Zone. Minimap. Toggle. There must be one to change the weapon. I just cannot remember it. Toggle, walk, run. Numpad slash. What a button. Toggle. F12? Okay. Weird buttons I've done for everything. This is human version. This is a kind of normal him, you know? The eyes are not meant to be like that. That's because of the hood. But, yeah, Dark Sister. Oathkeeper, there you go. Oathkeeper. Dark Sister was supposed to be in the cave with Bran, but they never bring up its sibling sword at all in the show. Blackfire, which is the Conqueror's sword. I see. So it's sort of like a complete. Just they basically forgot most of it, right? That's kind of the issue, I suppose. But you know, I guess it's just what they do. I wanted to check while I'm in the city. Although, I'm going to be honest, I don't know where it is. I'm more used to the Horde areas, because that's what I mainly play on. But apparently there's a special, like, Gilneas bit that's been added. Like, not a Gilneas... Oh, trading post? Is that it? That's what I want to go to. Also, I need to like, sort my bag out. But I think they'll have sent me so much. Oh, it's so much stuff. Look, you'll see, it's going to be awful. But basically, this was all stuff that like I had saved up for the future, but it's just it's given it back to me basically, and it looks terrible. Okay, is it done? Okay, I need to delete. Can I delete all? I'm just gonna let this expire because that's gonna take forever. Okay. What was I doing? I need to go to the... Yeah, sure. Let's go and sort that out. Okay, I'm going back over to here, which is... This is where the trading post is. This is good to know. So this is apparently... I got the trader's tender.
Come see my way.
I've already done this, so I
Now,
really
keep it on
don't need
too
to, like,
long.
do this whole quest thing. I don't know why that... The face, it used to always be up here, now it's just on the middle of the
Step on
screen.
up to that trading post.
So they're selling this stuff, you see, this month, which is like kind of exactly what I like for my character. So you have the kind of that one I don't like. I like this one way more. I love that. That's like by the way, you should know Gilneas is like where this character is basically meant to be from. In fact, I might even get it because I have all this. I don't even know why I have this. I also have unearned stuff still. So human is like that. That's the clothes. That's terrible. That looks cool. Although I think I use a bow, so it's not exactly what I'm aiming for. Most of this is stuff I don't want at all. That quiver's quite cool. Oh, for all Void Rangers. Yet again, cool, but like, not exactly going to use 90% of this. The only thing I felt like I wanted to get... Ooh. Kind of weird, isn't it? Basically, I don't ever spend any of this trader's tender here. I just don't bother. The only thing I kind of wanted was this, to be honest. Because it looks cool. I'm probably never going to use it. I also wanted to get this, because this is like the... kind of like the Gilneas like outfit, basically. So I'm going to get it. I'm going to do it. Yeah, I want it. I want this. Gilneas is one of my favorite things in WoW. So I'm getting this stuff. I don't really like the other one. None of this. That's cool. Don't get me wrong. Oh, I actually really like it. I'm probably not going to use it, but... you know what? I like it. I'm going to get it. Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Do
I'll
that.
be seeing you soon.
So I now just unlocked basically all that stuff, and so I now can use it at one moment. So I now have the Gilneas stuff. So in fact, I could put it on for a bit. Why not? I've just got it. I'll make a Gilneas version of my current set, you know. So sets, I'm gonna custom set. I'm gonna make a new one. I do this. I've got, there you go, Gilneas. Shoulder there. Gilneas is somewhere. I don't know where, but it's one of them. Where is that? Can I do sources? No, 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 no. Trading post. It must be this. Surely. No, it's not that. It's not that. What? Did they not give me shoulders? Oh, maybe there just isn't shoulders. Because it's like a jacket, really, isn't it? I mean, none of these really fit. What? That's what I'm currently using? Oh, hang on.
Good fortune to all friends of the Grummles.
Weird. That was so weird. Okay, I wanna put on this. And then I wanna put on. I don't wanna put on that. I like keeping this on. Grey Guard. Is it Grey Guard? Is that what it is? Grey Guard. Maybe that's what it's meant to be, but I don't think so. Gilnean Loyalist. Gilnean Loyalist Bracer. I think most of it is just like you wear anything basically. It's just to look kind of like a Gilnean person. Gilnean Loyalist. Gilnean Loyalist. So he looks a little bit less like cool, to be fair. I don't see Worgen Hunters. Yeah, I guess it's not a common thing to do in WoW. True. I'm missing a lot of the messages. Sorry, guys. But, he gave all the spotlight to the dagger. Yeah, the dagger. The dagger with the Aegon's Conquest written on it, right? Aegon's Dream, even. They gave all the spotlight to, yeah. I don't know if you guys got the same ads over in the UK when you were a kid, but they were great. Commercial. Oh, yeah, with Aussie, didn't you, Mr. T? Yeah, yeah, I remember all that stuff. It's crazy how they, I don't know if I saw it on TV, but I've seen it, like, since. And they were very cool ads. I think that they used to do all these really cool, like, kind of collaborations back in the day, but it still happens, but not as cool. Usually Rogue and Warrior is Worgen. Oh, really? That's more common? I think because I wanted to have a Ranger, but I've always been a fan of werewolves, so basically I just combined the two. To be honest, this doesn't look that bad. I really love this hood I've got, but the problem, I always hate that it has these, like, glowing eyes. Like, I'm not a fan of it at all. Like, the hood I'm using is... It's in here somewhere. There it is. Hood of Fading Opportunity. I wish I didn't have to have the glowing eye aspect, but there's basically no way to turn that off. I do like the fact he looks like a sort of gentleman now. It is cool. I'm not even sure about this bow the more I look at it. It does feel... I kind of like the simple bows, you know? But again, not sure. I'll leave it for now. Maybe I could go with this just for fun, you know, just for... I think I should wear some kind of gloves, though. That doesn't really work. It would be kind of like black or white gloves, I feel like. Kind of simple gloves, you know, like a simple set. You know, like sort of like riding gloves or something. Like this kind of thing, but darker, much darker. Yeah, none of these work at all. I don't really have enough on this character, to be honest. Honestly, those are like the closest, but even that is like just not remotely what I want, really. That kind of works, but it looks a bit edgelordy. You know, not a fan of it. Yeah, we got the Loyalist Bracers, Loyalist. I put everything as Loyalist just because why not? The cloaks, none of my cloaks really fit, to be honest. Like, realistically, that's... You know, that's kind of in between those two. That just doesn't remotely fit, you know. It's always the issue in this game to get stuff that like fits well. Like if you have to try and find it, you have to like aim for it, you know. But the problem is I haven't. I think that's honestly, to me, that's closer. That's green though. That's the only thing. But I feel like none of it really fits. Maybe this. A gentleman ranger, exactly, an absolute gentleman, just wearing his suit, going out, having fun. I kind of want to try it for a bit because I just bought the set, you know, why not? New costume, we'll call it gentleman ranger, just for now. Can I save it? There you go, why not? Put it on.
Farewell,
Let's
friend
turn
of the
to a
animals.
wolf. Looks pretty dapper. Dapper in his new suit. Why not? You know? There's something else you can do, which is I can do a T. No. I didn't mean to do that. Where's the ability where I can just like run on the ground? That's always fun. Do. Not that. Where is it? It's like a racial ability. It's called... It's not Dark Flight. Running Wild. I'll put that on for now. Why not? It's kind of pointless, but it's fun. You know, why not? Why not? Just jump around like this. I feel like I need to put a bunch of these other kind of useful abilities. Yeah, again, I don't need this really on there. Open... No, yet again, that's fine. Again, that doesn't need to be on there. That doesn't need to be on there. See, all this stuff is slightly more useful. But this stuff is like Running Wild can go there. I need to get like Feigned Death is really useful. I'll put that like 8. Command Pet. I guess I don't need it necessarily, but Flare, don't need it right now. Disengage is good. Steady Shot is really kind of key. All of these are good. Counter Shot, that's like an interrupt spell. I think Interrupt normally hurls a frost trap at the target location. Okay, I can just put that here. I think that's an interrupt, which is like really key. F is where I've put that. Sure, disengage. 0? Sure. I don't know. I can just go and click him. I can click him. Well for the cloak. Exactly, you got well for the cloak now. Let's go to the inn so I can actually see him, because it is, to be honest, it's very hard to see out here. Oh, do you know we're going to go for an inn, though? We're going to go to Gilneas. It's there, isn't it? Yeah, it's there. Let's fly over. We're going to get there quickly with the new awesome flying. Oh, that was... Oh, I need to switch the abilities around, because that was what it was, isn't it? 6, 3... We're just going to generally head in this direction and hope we actually get there. I don't know why, I just got flashbacks to the horribly depressing ending for The Witcher 3 with the Mother Wolf and the Poachers and the Depressed Werewolf. Oh, there's so much, like... The Witcher 3 does a great job of, like, making you care about minor characters that basically otherwise you wouldn't... You know, like, I felt like, as much as I love Skyrim, there's so many instances where I just, like... I'm not that bothered about what happens. But with The Witcher, like almost every little quest, right? You're like, oh, you know, are they okay? One of my favorite quests was one of the ones they added in that expansion. You know, outside of the main storyline, let's say, which is the Fool's Gold. Is that what it's called? Where they turn the village into pigs. Great quest. Love it. It's quite different to Classic WoW here, actually. I'm sort of used to the Classic WoW Dun Morogh. Look, there's Ironforge over there. I haven't really been to Ironforge in such a long time. In, like, retail WoW. Almost never. Second Wind? See, I need to turn back on the thing realistically because I don't know what's going on. Second Wind. 2. It's still pretty similar to Classic WoW, to be fair. It's not really that different. Yeah, it's pretty much the same, isn't it? Be cool if you could fly all the way through, but it doesn't look like it, does it? I'm gonna get out of here. Whoop. Whoop. It's a great game, honestly. It's very well made. There's so much you can do here. Oh. It's weird though, isn't it? Because like in the retail version, you can just go everywhere so easily. In Classic, it's such a struggle to just get to places, basically. Right, I'm gonna just redo my ability. Sometimes my buttons don't work. We're gonna go up to it there. Pretty retail. Oh, it's very different. But I mean the actual environment there looked very similar, but definitely not the same as well, Classic. It's more just like the whole mechanics and everything is completely different, isn't it? There you go. We're making our way over just cause. Kinda nice to have my... When's the end of... It's in 10 days, right? From now. 5 days? I heard today it was 10 days. Maybe I've completely missed... 19th, 9 days. There you go. Maybe yesterday I heard. 19th. There we go. It's going to be exciting. I think we really will see something interesting. I would hope so. You would really hope so. I mean, it's been long enough. So we have to go immediately over there. I think if I fly over the water for too long, I do die.
Ogres are never the best of neighbors, but the Boulder Fist are particularly unfriendly. Let's convince them to play.
What is this? Shall we? Oh, it's like a kind of battlegroundy thing. I don't want to deal with that. It's much quicker to fly now. They've made it even quicker. Crazy. With so much Cataclysm as a teenager, and the vibe is completely different. Everything is different, isn't it? It's so different now. The thing is, it still looks really cool, you know? It's just more kind of like... Oh, this is cool. This feels kind of old. I'm guessing this zone hasn't been updated in years. It's interesting. I mean, I was playing Classic quite a lot recently, but it's this weird thing on my keyboard, by the way. If I have one button pressed, I can't press another one at the same time. Weird. Sometimes. Just sometimes, though, like certain buttons. Silverpine Forest. I'm not going up to Silvermoon just yet. I honestly just wanted to bring this guy to Gilneas, just for fun. Because now they've reclaimed it. So you'll know then... hang on there. Ponvir. You'll know then that Gilneas used to be the ruins, and now it's been reclaimed. See, just then it called it the ruins again, but it shouldn't be the ruins anymore. They reclaimed it. And I've been here when it's been reclaimed, so... Look, there's people here. Hang on. There's actual, like, NPCs, or at least there should be. Yeah, look, here we go. Quartermaster. You can buy a Gilnean tabard. Do I have Gilnean reputation? I must. What is reputation? U? Yeah, there you go. Reputation. What would it be even under? It'd be under Cataclysm. Maybe not. Yeah, just him. Is it? Oh, here we go. Yeah, Exalted. It's Classic for some odd reason. Interesting. Interesting. As a joke, they're not actual news, paid imitators. It would be hilarious if they just released a Kelpie-centric quest similar to the Equine Fender. That'd be awesome. Have the full-on Kelpie quest. I am still wondering if it's a new Kelpie or not, you know? Certainly something I've been wondering as well. I actually have a pet called Geralt, but for some reason I can't dismiss my pet. Oh, it's working. Requires unbreakable bond. What does that even mean? I don't even know why. It says requires unbreakable bond. Requires unbreakable bond. Wow. A mandatory choice node in the marksmanship hunter talent tree, row 4. What? It won't be able to use any exotic pets without the What? So what, I'm stuck with my, like, pet that isn't even my pet. I can't get Geralt out just for fun. Why have they done that? Unbreakable bond. What, in marksmanship? It says in row 4. What? Where is it? Unbreakable bond. Weirdly, you can't, like, change your pets out. Search Coal Pet and it will appear as Unbreakable Bond, a waste of a talent point to be honest. Hunters should have the pets they want. Yeah, I don't know why I have to, like, change my pet. Search Coal Pet and it will appear as Unbreakable Bond, a waste of Hunter should have pet, okay. Retalents took me all 10 seconds to find setting up solo talents right near the top of the tree. Where is it though? Unbreakable Bond? Is it like here? Oh, it's this. So either I can get the damage bonus of spotless marks increased by 20%, or Unbreakable Bond, regain access to Coal Pet. Okay, I'm gonna do that, because I want to be able to get my pet out. Then can I change it? Okay, I'm gonna dismiss this pet, change it, and then maybe change my talent. This is gonna force me to use this. Okay, there you go. That's Geralt. That's my actual, like, pet. I also have Bristle Mole. So now if I change my talents, does it immediately get rid of him? Like if I whack it back to Avian. I just wanted to change it. I don't need to, like, constantly change it, like, back and forth. I see, now it's gone. Really? Okay, apparently we're just not allowed pets anymore. That's kind of terrible, isn't it? Why would they do that? Mental. Every hunter should be able to have a pet, even, like, just not, like, a really good, like, Beast Mastery level one. Wow, I'm gonna take it just because I actually want to have my pet. That's kind of, like, for RP purposes. I like having him. My Geralt. Look, it's the White Wolf. It's Geralt. He's right there. We gotta carry him. We gotta bring him round with us, you know? There he is, the two wolf lads, you know? I'm not sure about my transmog with this suit, but I've put it on now. Why not, eh? It's a really cool location. The Devil's Pit, oh yeah, it's awesome. White Wolf, yeah, exactly. Cool White Wolf Geralt, he's here. We gotta bring him. You know? Gilneas, so they've reclaimed it. So I don't know if you remember ages ago when I've probably come here on stream countless times. This place used to be, like, abandoned, and now the Alliance have actually reclaimed it as a city, which is really cool, because it's one of the best cities in the game. Just how it looks. I feel they could have done, like, way more with it, though, than what they have. Like, you know, they're rebuilding.
Ain't you a chipper-looking one?
He's got the most sort of chill voice ever. I like it.
Bad feeling.
Look at them all wandering around, just living their lives.
Service with a smile.
So this place just used to be empty, basically. And now it's just, like, back. I did like the Witcher Netflix quest they added. The only bit I disliked about it was the fact that, like, they added the Netflix armor as, like, kind of canon to the game. Sort of. Which I thought, like, that's just a really bad precedent, because I don't want it to have, like, connection to the game. Like, I always think the best part of that was that you can just separate them as basically not being, Oh, this is for my house? I can get... Oh, that's cool. First time collection bonus requires Gilnean... Okay, so I can just add this to my house. Yeah, I'll buy all of this. So do I just get it permanently?
Remember that the beast in the shadows might be your salvation.
What even does my house look like? You know, I really haven't been there in a while. Let me check. So I have my house there. Let's have a look at it. I haven't really been there in a while. This was a whole thing they added to WoW. Heller is awesome. Love the ancient wolf witch character. Awesome. It was really like well done. I just think I think all of it would have been great if it just wasn't the Netflix armor for me. That was the only thing that I disliked. Everything else was completely fine. It all looked awesome.
Our endeavor succeeded, and the trailer is...
A trailer? I don't have a trailer, do I? I've actually forgotten all the house buttons. Settings, edit house. Advanced mode. Customize. Decorate. So I can put stuff in here now. I have loads of random things. Can I add rooms? Can I do layout? Edit floor plan. Ah, okay. Cross-shaped room. Closet. Octagon room. Okay, wow. So this is a whole thing in WoW now. I'm still playing Classic Witcher 3. Haven't upgraded since the first attempt at it. But, oh, really? Not even like, the, like, optional DLC to add. I guess, yeah, like the, what was it called? The next-gen update. I've been playing it recently. There's some cool, like, frame generation stuff. I use it now mainly for that. The mod stuff did mess it up a bit. Octagon... I wanted to have, like, multiple rooms. That was my remember. So, I don't want this to be a square, though. What? Hang on. How do I... I want to add, like, a, I want to add, like... what do I want to add? Stairwell left. I want to add a stairwell to the middle? Stairwell right, stairwell room. Okay, hang on. What does that look like? Okay, so I now have a stairwell. Can I add to this? Okay, so now I've got stairwell. Ah, so now I can add a room above. So if I want to add like a second octagon, or like a... I want to have it kind of go up, sort of like 2 octagons, like this. Then I want to have like... How do I do this? Another stairwell, but left. Oh, you can't. You can only have 2 stairwells. Okay. So my floor plan now is 2 octagons. So I have kind of the upstairs. Then I can go down. And I've got my downstairs, which is kind of cool. Okay. I like it. I like it. I'm curious as to its price point and the size of it. I think the next gen upgrade is pretty much... Isn't it free? It was free for me when I... Maybe if you got a physical copy, it's not free. I think because I obviously have the GOG version, which is kind of part of it. How does one edit the floor plan slightly more? So I've now got the upstairs here. I want to have like little octagon rooms on the side, but I actually can't add anything up here. I can add closets. Can I add like a tiny room? I can add closets basically. Room limit. I've actually just reached the room limit completely. I can't actually have any more rooms. I feel like it's better to have a... Okay, I've got a closet. Can I add like other rooms downstairs perhaps? Or could I make my big room... I see. So I'd probably have to remove the top room ever so slightly. It's probably too big, to be honest. I've got so many rooms. How is this design? It kind of seems fine to me. You know? Like, my glasses are kind of, like, weird. You know, when you've got, like, markings on them and it feels like The light is spreading across your eyes. 25 to 30 bucks for the new expansion, which is significant, but the jury's still out on that. I don't think the update will bring mod support for consoles as well, though. Oh. I mean, it is like, you'd hope that with the new update, you know, I'm fine with it costing like a decent amount of money, but just so long as, you know, it's big. I mean, if it's $30 or what, like £25 or something, it should be relatively substantial, you know, which is kind of like, it won't be a little thing, like you'd hope at least, considering if you look at the prices of stuff before, which would be great, you know, always want to see that. I don't know how to, I want to like upgrade the walls and stuff. Clean up, no. Customize. Wall style. Can I get... Didn't I buy, like... Rugged? Why is it rugged? Didn't I just buy, like, Gilnean wall? I don't know. I'm not sure how to do that. How does one get Gilnean wall? Is it in here? Gilnean stone wall. Well, it's just literally a. Okay, that's cool. How does one go out with this? Cancel, escape. Alright, well, my house isn't great, but there's not an awful lot I can really do in here. It's not bad by any means. It's just very empty. Also, I'm in the kind of horde location. I prefer like a kind of forest. Blood and wine, the bar is high. Yeah, if the standard is blood and wine, we gotta hope it's going well. Cornerstone. Who's in my... Oh, the neighborhood is pretty full now. Can I build out here? Oh, I can. So I could put down the Gilnean stuff here if I want to. I've only got one wall, though. I should have bought way more. A little wolf's... This is like my outhouse. Should I put an outhouse somewhere? Where should I put it? Is it really like an outhouse? That's kind of funny. I like it. Right, we got an outhouse there. What is the purpose of this? Just like, is it like a... I don't know. My house is basically just like, there's no design philosophy right now. Mouse wheel up. Oh, I can rotate it. Look at that. I mean, there's literally no design. I'm just sort of putting stuff around so it looks like something's happening here, you know? I want it to look like a magical little, like, what's going on, you know what I mean? There's a chicken coop. Why not? We got chickens over there. We've got a little wall as well. Just the beginnings of something over there. Hang on. I don't know, what's the point in this? What else have I got? Like random crates. I like the random crates, I'll just dot them around a bit. An elegant... I don't need that out here. Just more junk piles. I've just got junk everywhere. I've got just the most random things that don't really... You know, there's no purpose. Sure, there's my house. Looks great, right? Looks good. Looks good. Nice. I'm happy with it. I'm very happy with that. Okay, let's fly back over here. So, where am I headed? Bulletin board, house upgrades. I don't really know, you know. I still don't get like the full-on how all of this works yet. It has been a while. Oh. Whoop. Hello there, lumberjack. You want to upgrade my house?
Greetings, man. Hello, man.
I'll earn a lumberjack. What does it mean? Able to harvest lumber nodes in the world. Okay.
Spirits be with you.
Sure. Why not? You can be my lumberjack.
What can I help you?
I want to upgrade my house. I can't? Okay, sure. I don't even get how it works. I'm also in like a horde area, which feels... Yeah, just a 100, 10 out of 10, you know. Okay, I will get a bookcase if I solve a riddle. Wait, sorry, what was the riddle? Are you ready for today's challenge? Okay, on one boardwalk above, a second boardwalk below, search near the canoes. So two, like under a bridge, in the middle of a bridge near some canoes, sure. Oh, a boardwalk. I didn't mean to do that, whoops. Let's have a look around, shall we? Boardwalk. Oh, this looks like a boardwalk. But I need to find canoes too. Canoes. It could be here. Ah, one boardwalk above, one boardwalk below. I feel like this is pretty close. And then near canoes, but there's no canoes. Is there any other kind of like information? One boardwalk above, one boardwalk below. Riddles, you're very... Riddles, yeah, exactly. Riddles in the dark. One boardwalk above, one boardwalk below. Search near the canoes. No canoes here. Maybe it's not here. There are several boardwalks, to be fair. Yeah, one boardwalk above, one boardwalk below. Search near the canoes. Canoes. I think I need to find canoes. Boardwalks and canoes. I mean, surely it's over here, right? Like, this is pretty boardwalky. There's a bridge here, but I doubt that really counts. Could be anything. Could it be over here? Could there be a hidden boardwalk, possibly around? I mean, if there is, I'm not seeing it, you know? A boardwalk. I mean, this place is pretty big, isn't it? And it doesn't tell me on the map at all. It just says there's some boardwalk, and you can, you know, you can find that if you want. Oh, what about that? What is that? I don't know what the purpose of that is. Well, you know what? Not finding it, but it's okay. Maybe I can get it later. It's not kind of necessary right now anyway. Yeah, that's fine. I was going to stop playing WoW anyway. There's a couple things I thought might be fun to look at on the old news site, so we can always return to WoW eventually, or do something else. Quite large. Maybe find water, look for canoes, but you know what? I will look for it another time. There's a few interesting news pieces I thought might be interesting to discuss. And then it might be fun to play like Assassin's Creed or so. I mean, we'll see. It's already 8, isn't it? So I'm setting a limit today. I've got to head off at like basically 9 for me, which is about an hour and a little bit, so maybe we'll see. What was I going to do? Oh yeah, so let's have a look here. Back over to here. And then this, or this. Yeah, that maybe is better. Okay, so there was a few things. The first thing I wanted to talk about before I get into anything else was I had this kind of big ultimate like Twitter debate recently which was going on for a while. To be honest, it was going on for quite a while, and I wanted to see what you guys thought, because I still very much believe in this opinion, right? So basically, it all started. Let me bring you back to. I normally don't engage in sort of arguments on the internet, but I don't know. I kind of felt like, look, this is actually something that I have a big issue with. I have this general opinion that there are like two sides to the Ciri debate, right? Like, this is how a lot of people see it, right? So you have one side on the Ciri debate, which is basically saying, like, Ciri shouldn't be a Witcher, it's all dumb, we hate Ciri, you know, blah, 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 blah. That's kind of like the very stereotypical whatever. And I don't even know anyone that's on that side, but that's that's kind of like the ideal. Let's say there's two ideal types, and that's one ideal type. The next ideal type is, nothing can be wrong with Ciri. There's no reason she can't just be the perfect Witcher. Who cares if it was never said in the lore? Actually, it was said in the lore, and if you say no, you're wrong, and you're dumb, that kind of thing. Those are ideal types, and no one really belongs 100% to either camp, right? But, you know, let's go with that. The two extremes of the Ciri debate. You have a bunch of people in the middle, right? And I would say my general position is I sit kind of like, you know, I'll show you, because I don't want to, like, give myself, like, a better impression than I actually, like, you know, have shown online. So I want to read it and explain it. So let me see. So they have now removed their post, but the original post was here. They may have blocked me, which is why it's no longer coming up. It does seem as if I have been blocked here. I can't follow them or do anything. So I'm assuming I've been blocked by this person. Anyway, their original tweet was this. And I saw this and I thought, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. He said, and I don't want to call him out, look, he can have his opinion. I'm not having a go at him. He can decide what he wants to do. Again, I'm just saying that I didn't like the way it was phrased, because it was like, I'm going to be insufferable when The Witcher 4 comes out and I see weirdos who haven't experienced anything Witcher-related before, have never read any of the books, so assume Ciri can't be a Witcher, which is never stated. I need to see more about that game soon. So the thing that I had more of an issue with was this idea of, like, calling people weirdos because they have an issue, basically, with Ciri becoming a Witcher. And a lot of people that were replying to me on Twitter, I realize, basically don't understand the difference between Witcher as a profession and Witcher as, like, a mutation. Because everyone's saying, like, she is a Witcher in the book. So many people, not everyone, a lot of people were saying to me, she is a Witcher. And I was like, what are they talking about? I was really confused at first. And I was like, oh, they're talking about the fact that, like, she was kind of spiritually a Witcher. I realized that some people think a Witcher is like a job, I guess. They don't realize it's like a whole mutation thing, right? So I was like, oh, they do realize, or they just don't realize that she never did that. Anyway, I was like, weird thing. You know, so they, you know, called people weirdos, said they've never experienced any. It's sort of like a way to kind of categorize people and say, basically, if you don't think Ciri can be a Witcher, you're like a weirdo who hasn't experienced anything in The Witcher and you have never read the books, right? That's kind of the implication with this tweet. And I was like, no, that's not what people are saying. So the first thing is this, right? So I replied with this. I'll read my tweet first, just to break it down. I said, there were no established female witches in the books. None. It doesn't need to be directly stated to imply the process applies to boys. That said, and this is the important part, new methods can be developed, and this is likely the case with Ciri, which isn't a major issue. But implying the fans who disagree with a clear development of the lore are weirdos, it's not even implying, it's saying it, or have never read the books is dishonest. And that's what I believe, right? Because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of seeing this kind of like, you know, I don't know, whatever the like annoying straw man argument is, that you're sexist or whatever because you just kind of think it's odd that Ciri's now a Witcher. You know, it's nothing to do with that, and it's nothing even necessarily to do with the whole girl thing. Like, you know, anyway, someone says, numerous times in the book, Ciri and others refer to her as a Witcher. If you read the books, you'll see that all the things pointed to her becoming one. You're wrong, buddy. And it has 22 likes. And I'm like, what is going on? Am I in some sort of like mass psychosis? Because I'm like, yes, she's a Witcher in like a kind in spirit, but nothing points to her becoming one. Like, in fact, I would say the books point to the opposite. Like, the whole point is that she never needed to take the mutations because she was a Witcher in like spirit, right? Like she was Geralt's surprise child. he found her, he raised her. They didn't need to have that, like, they didn't both need to be witches for her to be like her father or something like that. Like, he was already, because of just their relationship. And on top of that, she's like the child of the Elder Blood. She has all this sort of like interesting lore. She's like the MacGuffin almost of the entire books. She doesn't need to become a witcher to be better. She already is like stronger in almost every way than just some like mutated human, you know, like, as witches are a little bit more than that. But I was like, what? And on top of that, you know, and I'll get into this later. So anyway, in my opinion, the books did not remotely point to it. In fact, the books ended before she ever became a witcher, because the games are not, you know, they're based on the books, but they're not the books. So the books aren't pointing towards anything, actually. The books aren't even pointing to The Witcher 1. You know, it's developed after the fact. So anyway, disagree with that. Then loads of people saying, oh, it's clearly an anomaly with Ciri. Why can't we just accept she's a witcher, blah, blah. Yet again, I'm not arguing she can't be one. I'm just saying it's yet again, it's weird when people say that anyone that disagrees with it is a weirdo or doesn't understand the lore, which is not where I'll get into where the disagreement comes from. I talked about it briefly then. The games have deviated from the book's canon from the very first game. I don't see the issue. Yet again, I'm not saying you can't deviate. I'm saying that it's dishonest to say that, you know, it's always been this established thing in the Witcher lore that girls could become witches, even though it's never been stated before. And the way that the games deviated from the canon, in my opinion, was always a little bit like, it was generally careful. You know, with the incorporation of all the new Witcher schools, that's slightly like, that's quite an extreme thing, right? And people generally accept it. But it's more of the fact that, like, you would assume that if girls could have become witches in the Witcher lore, you would have seen one. You know, you would have seen one. Which I don't think witches are that picky with who they decide to turn into witches, right? But again, it doesn't mean you can't adjust the mutations. It doesn't mean that there wasn't some secret school in which they were at some point. It's more the fact that if you start saying, actually, in the wolf school there was loads and loads of girl witches, but we just never talked about it, I'd be like, that feels like a bit of a betrayal. Like, there's better ways to handle it if you want to incorporate girl witches, you know? I'm not against the idea of girl witches. I just think it's odd that we've never ever seen them before, then suddenly it's sort of like, no, it's just always been the case, right? Which is what I'm more concerned about. It's implied she is one, but it wasn't also said girls couldn't. Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying, like, girls can't survive or something like that. It's more of the fact that if they could survive, and witches assumedly claim a lot of children through the law of surprise, and assumedly there will be families with girls, you would assume you'd see more, or have a mention of some in the history of any of it. You know, it's the fact we don't see any of it. I was always sort of concerned, like, okay, if they're going to suddenly start saying, well, it was actually always the case, and there were loads, quite confusing. And on top of that, the main issue I have, yet again, is not so much with the fact that girls can become witches, all this other stuff. I think that, like, that's not a big deal. I even said later on, I'll get into the other tweets, that, like, I don't think it's such a big issue if there's a girl witcher, right? It's more of the fact that Ciri, it doesn't make... People are acting as if it's the logical decision for Ciri to be the next protagonist, whereas in my mind, it's not the logical decision, and her story does not lead to that in any sense of the word, and it doesn't really make sense why she would become one, unless there is, like, a clear explanation as to... I don't want this thing to just be like, yeah, she wanted to be a witcher, so she decided to take the mutations. You know, that would suck. And I think a lot of people would just accept that. But to me, I'm like, it needs to be like some reason she had to take the mutations, because she never took them, never saw the need to do it, and, you know, it was never part of her character that she was a physical witcher. You know, it was more the fact in spirit, and she had the Elder Blood. So I always found it kind of an odd argument. And then I was mainly... I think it's like multiple different arguments going on at the same point. Like, my tweet is not actually sort of disagreeing that girls can be witches, saying that it's impossible. It's more saying, well, there were no established female witches in the book, so people are sort of concerned that the law has been suddenly changed, and then on top of that, like, it isn't actually a major issue if Ciri becomes a witcher. It's completely fine, but just calling fans weirdos who don't understand it is just a little bit like, it's very sort of parsimonious. It sort of treats people as if their concerns about the way the law may be changed is not sort of founded on any kind of, like, logic within the Witcher's law. Which, you know, worlds have rules. Like, you know, there's an argument. Here's a great example. Like, a lot of things aren't stated, but you assume, right? So, for example, like, if they suddenly said, like, actually, like, Mother Melitele is actually like a, I don't know, She was never a god, and that was just like a story. Or so I'm trying to think of a good example of this. It's basically like saying, like, just because something isn't directly stated, the point I'm trying to make, doesn't therefore mean that everything is on the table. I think that there are like, if you have the Witchers being the key thing in the Witcher's lore, every Witcher we've ever known has been a boy, and then suddenly in the next game it's like, actually it was always possible to have girls, we just never tried it, I guess, or it just failed, I guess, every single time until now. It's kind of like, oh, okay then, but like, that's kind of convenient, isn't it? Like, it feels like you just wanted Ciri to be a Witcher. It feels like this wasn't actually established in the lore. So that's why I'm like, oh, a great way to go around that and kind of avoid that issue in if you want to have Ciri as a Witcher is to be like, oh, we adjusted the mutations. Or, as you say, like, her elder blood allowed her to be more resistant to the magic used or something like that, and therefore she could get through it. Or we've used very specific types of mutations, you know, like mutagens. So I kind of felt like that was my issue with it. I felt like it just feels like a sudden revision in the lore that is also like it's being used to justify turning Ciri into a Witcher when her character doesn't necessarily... It's trying to justify making Ciri the next protagonist when I and a lot of other fans felt as if, what is the reason for making her the next protagonist past the fact that you just like want Ciri to be the next protagonist without any kind of story reason leading you to doing that? And I that's the issue I think I felt, and I want to make sure that, like, for me as a fan, that I play The Witcher 4 and I'm like, oh, this makes sense. Yeah, Ciri's a Witcher. This is a good way to take the story in this direction. And if it just is the case that they say, actually, yeah, girls could always be witches, we just never mentioned it before, and it was never, you know, there have been no female witches prior, or even worse, yeah, there was actually loads, we just never talked about it. I would feel like, oh, okay, so we're basically revising the lore, right? To make this Witcher 4 story work, we're revising all of the lore. We're not like kind of making interesting additions or adding interesting stories. We're just revising the existing lore, and that's my opinion, you know. And I'll just read some of what you guys are saying so we can. I think it's a bit of an exclusion to say people are weird. That's what I'm saying. I really hope we get something. Yeah. Need to throw us a rope to grab onto, especially as folks. Yeah, exactly. Just something that kind of makes it feel like it wasn't this incredibly contrived thing where, like, yeah, there were no girl witches ever, but actually it's always been possible. We just never tried, I guess. Yeah, there were some in the past, which I hope they don't do. And yeah, Ciri's now a Witcher, and it's not an issue. And even though the fact she never felt the need to do it in the books, never felt the need to do it in the Witcher 3, of course, but now for some reason she's just decided like she needs to go through these mutations because turns out her whole thing of like metaphorically being a Witcher is kind of bullshit, and she's not a Witcher until she's had this physical change to her body. And for a lot of people, it's kind of a betrayal of her story in the books and the games, Witcher 3, of kind of going through her journey with the Elder Blood, if that is the explanation. And the point I'm trying to make is people that have the concerns that I've just voiced, calling all of them weirdos who don't understand the lore feels incredibly dishonest and kind of like just, it feels like you're basically saying if you don't just 100% accept that Ciri could always have been a Witcher, is the most logical choice for the next protagonist and everything, you're a weirdo and you have some sort of weird agenda. You know, and I think that's just what I disagreed with. You know, I'm actually fine with Ciri becoming the next protagonist. I'm fine with her becoming a Witcher, depending on how they explain it. Like, I think the best possible explanation that fits all of it is to be the NL were chasing her. They didn't stop at the end of The Witcher 3. They still wanted to find a way to invade the world. So Gels, maybe even Avallac'h decided, right, we've dealt with the White Frost, assumedly, at the end of 3. Let's now get Ciri. We can get her and we can continue with our plan for like NL supremacy. And she's like, okay, I've got to try and genetically alter myself so they don't try and get this from me anymore. So they can't continue with their plan. So I'm going to undergo the Witcher mutagens. It's very risky. Girls have never survived it, let's say, but I've got the Elder Blood. Maybe we can adjust them slightly. Whatever the reasoning is, she goes through them, and then she actually succeeds, as we can see. It alters her genetic makeup to such a degree that she no longer has to have this kind of like Elder Blood thing, because it's kind of a continuation in that sense, right? Because if you think about it, there's a lot of loose ends at the end of The Witcher 3. Like, would the NL really just sort of be like, yeah, I guess we don't need her anymore? They still have that kind of idea, right? So it would be like, yep, she's adjusting her genetics to get rid of that, or to try and make it that they at least can't track her in the same way Eredin was seemingly able to when she used her powers as well. Which then also explains the downgrade, because why would you downgrade yourself to basically going from like semi-god that can travel through space and time. Well, time is a debatable one, sorry. What's his name? Alvin did. But, to just like a Witcher, going about doing Witcher things, it kind of feels like pointless for like, for the purpose of it. It's sort of just like she just likes that life and she decided to do it. It's kind of lame. It would make more sense to have that kind of reason. But I hate this because I made her an emperor. Yeah, exactly. Again, it also annoys a lot of people who are like, oh, she's going to be the next empress. She's going to take over Nilfgaard. And actually it's like, well, that doesn't matter anymore. She's now a Witcher and deal with it. And people saying like the books are leading to this. It's like, well, actually the games can, as you say, can lead her to be an empress. And in one ending, although this is easy to work around, but she might die, So it doesn't really, and it feels like an incredibly messy decision to have a game like The Witcher 3 where you have multiple endings, basically to just say, they don't matter, she's a Witcher no matter what, which is what annoyed a lot of people as well, And I just felt that this comment saying that they're like insufferable and weirdos is kind of dishonest. There are like legitimate concerns with having Ciri as the next protagonist past just like girls can't be witches or something, which is not what I think. I think, of course, there can be an interesting way. You could have a really cool, interesting like subsect of witches that were girls. They have their own like maybe like assassin witches or something like that. Really interesting. But again, like there's multiple issues at once. There's the girl witcher thing, which is if they retroactively said there was loads, we just never talked about it, which would feel a bit contrived. And then there's also the issue with just like having Ciri as the next protagonist and making her into a Witcher, invalidating loads of other choices, and also just like not making sense really for her kind of like spiritual sense of being a Witcher and her journey in the books and coming to accept the Elder Blood and accepting who she is and finally mastering it all and being like, well, actually it's gone. It just feels like this. You could have had a Witcher game, even with a girl Witcher that isn't Ciri, that like establishes this new lore thing, and that could have been okay, or having some new, like going as a school, the Viper Witcher, or going to the heyday of the witches in the past. It just it feels like it takes away what made it special. Exactly. They can't just say, oh, back in the day there were girl witches. I think that's, yeah, exactly. If they just said like, oh, hey, like actually girls could have always become witches, we just never did it before. I guess every Witcher was just actually this like mega sexist that whenever they went to the houses they would be like, oh, a girl, can't take her. This is what I wanted to continue getting into, because I'm only saying that. I'm not just making some weird argument. Someone made that argument with me, which I was like really surprised about, because I was like, if the witches had been like that, why did Geralt take Ciri? And then they said, well, Geralt's special. I'm like, but this just feels like you're shifting the what is it called? You're moving the goalposts. Because. Okay, why was Lambert, Eskel, and Vesemir so accepting of Ciri and willing to train her then? I guess they're also different. Just all the witches that happen to survive the massacre and the Wolf School happen to not care. And we've already established in the world of The Witcher that girls are in these kind of interesting positions. You have like the sorceresses, for example, in positions of power and like being advisors. Or you have the Zerrikanian warriors. Why would the witches be like, we don't want girls? It's not like they've got such an abundance of children they can take to train to be witches, and if the mutations have always worked, why wouldn't they just do it? So going back in time and being like, oh, actually they always did, we just didn't do it before, is to me like, it's different to adding other schools, because that would imply that the Wolf School witches just basically couldn't be bothered to do it, or it was always there, they just never told us, which is sort of significantly changing an existing thing in the lore as well, like the actual Wolf School. So to me, you can avoid all those issues by saying, we've just adjusted the mutations and now you can. Because they've established that they, maybe they got new mages, new techniques, new whatever. Or they could be like, oh, there was a special witcher school we've never told you about where there was girls and they mastered the mutations and this is it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But I think the concern is like just saying like it was always the case, even though it clearly isn't the case, is, yet again, maybe they never said the mutations couldn't work, but if they couldn't work, why is there none? And why has there never been any mentioned ever? That's the only concern people have. It doesn't need to be said for it to be obvious what the case was, at least with the schools we know of. But again, add a new school, do that, adjust the law, have new mutations, makes sense. There's no issue. You can change these things. They've done it before. But like retroactively changing existing schools and storylines in that way just feels like, oh, you're trying to contrive your way into having Ciri as a Witcher. You're not actually putting in the work to make some interesting explanation for it, which, by the way, I'm not accusing them of, because I don't think they're going to do. But I think there's so many fans that are just like, they're so accepting of it to the degree where, like, it doesn't matter if the story basically doesn't make any sense at this point. It's just like, I want to see Ciri as a Witcher, and if you disagree with me, you're wrong. And that's what I dislike. Yeah, I feel like there was girl witches, but it was more rare. Yeah, it could be the case. It could be the case, but again, like, it must be incredibly rare, like, to have none mentioned ever, you know, in any of the schools ever. You know, you would assume there'd be something, you know, and I think that's the main concern. Like, and again, I'm not against it, and yeah, as people have said, and this is a good point, like, Ciri has got special elder blood, right, which might give her some kind of resistance to the mutations and allow them to even do it when she's an adult and everything. But yeah, even that, doing it at the age she is as well, is also kind of a questionable thing. But again, the elder blood, I guess you can just explain most things away, but it's still got to be careful. The Netflix show, that's just a mess. I think fans have, like, not let, that's not the right, it sounds kind of entitled, of course, but fans have sort of, like, when, this is the exact feeling I had when they announced the Witcher show cast and they showed, like, some of the initial scenes, and I saw loads of fans like, oh, this is going to be so good. If you watch back my videos, you can see I'm like, oh, I don't know about this. I don't agree with this decision. Why have they... And then, obviously, we saw what happened there. And it's a feeling I got, and especially if fans are so, like, sheepy that they just will accept everything without any kind of critical thinking and just be like, no, they can keep changing the law. They can do what they want. They can do it... You know, it's just, to me, it's like, oh, like, can we not have, like, a higher standard for this? Like, it's... If you are desperate to have Ciri as the next protagonist... You know, that's fine, but can we at least have like a satisfying explanation other than, yeah, it was always the case, we just never told you. You know, like that's my concern. That's always been my concern. You know, and I've tried to find interesting ways that they could incorporate it, because I'm not against it. I just think we need to have a decent standard of storytelling here, you know? I think the game writers are... Yeah, I hope so as well. And this is why I'm sharing these opinions, because if you don't share these opinions, and all the game writers, and these people are fans and they're getting hired, and they are the people that are going to be making these decisions. If they end up getting in a position at CD Projekt Red, or it becomes proliferated that, yeah, let's just change the law in this way, it kind of just feels... I'm just going to lose so much interest in it. Because it'll be like, everything's just going to change all the time, for sure. Like with Warhammer, you know? Yeah, there's so many ways they can make it. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, and then people kind of, they read my tweet and see I'm being negative about it in any way, and therefore I'm on the side of, like, Ciri can't be a Witcher, you know, blah, 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 blah. And it's not that. I think she can. I completely agree that she can. My issue is that I don't want it to be this contrived fake thing. You know, I want it to be a satisfying explanation, which I hope I've proposed some. And I think you've got to add to this dialogue to make sure that these things come out in a good way. You know? Not gonna lie, my main reason for wanting the game is the Manticore. I'd love to see the Manticore. It's so exciting, so many exciting things. But I saw that tweet and I was like, it's so annoying to see people calling people, like, weirdos because they have issues with the fact that, like, Ciri is now a Witcher and they want to work out, like, how can this be satisfying? You know, and maybe you could say they weren't talking to me. They were talking to the fans that are like, she can never be a Witcher, it's ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. But they didn't say that. They said anyone that the specific tweet said, it's going to be insufferable when The Witcher 4 comes out, and I see weirdos who haven't experienced anything Witcher related before, have never read the books, so assume Ciri can't be a Witcher, which is never stated. And it's like, true, but also, like, there's more to the argument than just that. In my opinion, there's more to it than just that. On the side of people that are skeptical of Ciri, there's more than just people that, like, completely disagree. And that's the point I wanted to make anyway. But then there was another one, and then this person came back and said, you're not wrong, but it's more nuanced than that. The process was designed for boys because girls fared far worse, so they basically stopped trying, but it's not impossible. Again, I'm not saying it's impossible, and I'm saying there were no established female witches in the books, none. It doesn't need to be directly, so that was my point. So I think the problem is people are assuming I'm saying that, like, it's impossible for girls to be witches, where it's, what I'm trying to say is, like, it's never happened before. Like, in from what we can see. Like, they say it's more nuanced. Girls fared worse. It's like, yeah, okay, they fared worse, but to the extent that, like, there is none in any of the history. You know, so it has to be more satisfying than just there was girls and it can be done. I think that there's so many other interesting ways to do it than to make this kind of like, you know, it even says, the trial of the grasses, said Geralt, is a ritual that changes the body and the mind. It's never been completed by a woman, not once. Every time they tried, they died, but it's not impossible. To me, that implies it is impossible, by the way, because they all died. It's just saying we can try and see how it goes, and that's what they're going to assumedly do with Ciri. And that makes sense. It does make sense. I think my concern is just if they just explain it away as like, you know, it was all... I think the main concern I'm having is that it's just going to be like, oh, it's always been the case. Like, what this person is saying is, I kind of agree with that, generally. But again, I'm saying here, you know, the book states it was never completed on a girl, implying that it was actually a process that applied to boys, or at least it was only ever successful on them. Regardless, it's not just that girls fared worst, it's that it actually never worked, ever. There were, and until Ciri, have never been any female witches, implying a significant shift in the established Witcher canon. Worlds have rules, even implicit, considering the title is The Witcher, breaking from something so significant to the main focus of the story raises red flags for many. It's more of like that's what as I was saying, it's like a red flag thing. It's like, okay, you're changing the law here. Okay, just Ciri being a Witcher from now is fine, but please don't go further. And don't just make it the case that girls could have always been witches or something like that. It's like, yeah, maybe there is some potential, but we can't start... I think the concern I have is that they're going to start retroactively adding in witches that basically never existed into existing schools. Again, you can have interesting ways to incorporate into the past if you have like new law with different schools, but you've got to be really careful. But again, and then I'm saying, because I'm not arguing against the fact that Ciri can be a witcher. Like, they can make Ciri a witcher. I'm not against it. Handle carefully, blah, blah. Basically everything I've just said now. And then the debates continue as such. But, you know, the point I'm trying to make is this. It's completely fine. It's completely fine to make Ciri a witcher if they do it in a satisfying way. And I think that is completely like... And it's fine to be legitimately concerned about how they're going to make her into a witcher. And in addition to all of this, I completely want to let people know I disagree with the fact that Ciri was destined to be the next protagonist of the Witcher games. I think they just decided that, you know, which is fine, yet again. And it's like a ideological decision from each person, you know, to be like, well, actually, like philosophical, I should say, not ideological. Like, from the philosophy of the games to me, or the way I would see the story going as a fan, I would not have expected the next game to be about playing as Ciri as she's been mutated into being a Witcher. It doesn't feel like the logical next step to me. But at the same time, if they have a satisfying way, as I've said in the past, I'm happy with getting anything. And I think a lot of people have that opinion. And I think also just some people aren't as interested in playing as Ciri as a character. There's all these other issues that come with it. But from a lore point of view, it can work. It depends to what extent they explain the mutations. And to me, I would feel unsatisfied if it was just like, oh yeah, I guess Ciri can just survive because she's got the Elder Blood. To me, it's like, yeah, I guess so, but, you know, that's kind of an interesting sort of thing in the Elder Blood, I guess. It allows you to take on the Witcher mutagens more effectively. I guess that's kind of something we haven't established, but I guess that's an addition. But it makes sense, but just to then be like, now every girl can be a Witcher, I'm like, well, hang on. The process hasn't changed. That's why I think just having a new process that incorporates it working with girls would make sense for if they want to start adding girl witches to the Link School, because it still doesn't fix the fact that technically they shouldn't fare better at all, you know, by the standards of the law that everyone is bringing up, right? Like, it's still the fact that previously it's never ever worked on a girl. Therefore, even if Ciri makes this Link score and decides to incorporate more witches, theoretically, if they don't change anything about the mutations, there shouldn't be any more. Or, like, you know, it should kill basically 99% of them, you know? Which I think is probably not what they're going to go for. So I feel like it makes more sense in the lore to have an adjustment to it. Generally, that's my point. I can spell, I promise. No problem. I want to read some of what you guys are saying, because I've been sort of going off on it for a while. I had a feeling they would continue with Ciri, not like this, of course, but I want them to go back in time during the... Yeah, me too. That's what I wanted to have. I wanted to just go back to all the schools that they added and just explore that history more. I thought that was the logical next step, you know? But, yeah, I guess you could see the continuation with Ciri to a degree. I just felt like it was kind of like really unlikely because of the way 3 ended. Like, it would make sense if you could like have some crazy branching game where you're either an empress, a witcher, or like exploring different worlds, or maybe just becoming a witcher in spirit. I have to clarify. You know, going under the mutations just felt like completely left field to me. Similar thought too. It would have been really cool and easier to do. I was expecting them to continue with Ciri in the games. That's interesting. I just think that with the way The Witcher 3 ended, it just felt like difficult, basically, without just retconning everything. Now I'm thinking of Ciri, another test subject. They're bouncing off the show of Vesemir. I could spell, I promise. No worries, the keyboard can... Yeah, sorry, I'm just reading through. Please don't mention... Oh, show Vesemir is creepy. He wants to change Ciri into a witcher. That maybe they got inspiration from the Netflix show. I feel like the show played a part in making... Possibly. Honestly, possibly. I don't want to play as Ciri because I dislike... Yeah, some people have that too. Yeah. I can see The Witcher 4 being about Ciri protecting other kids who may have the Elder Blood, like Old Blood. That could be interesting. Like other sort of like, you know, the leftover children from all the different like royal lines. But I suppose the difference with Ciri is that her royal blood is like, it's the culmination of the 2 different lines that split, and it just kind of perfectly came together in her. Think of like genes as having like millions of different genomes, or what, I forget, proteins. I forget that. I've got to be honest, I'm not an expert on genes, but there's a lot. And, you know, it has to be a very specific culmination for it to actually activate. So maybe there's a few that have some, and that they're trying to get these children to the NL and crossbreed them over like centuries, you know, and they want to try and create more. They try and get the Elder Blood to manifest again, maybe. Could be interesting. This feels like huge, a big nerf to Ciri, a sort of betrayal to some of the Witcher 3 endings in regard to like the Empress ending, the Witcher in Spirit ending, and just her not actually needing to be a Witcher to be special. And a betrayal is a bit of a loaded word, I should say. But again, if they have a satisfying explanation, it's fine. And it's certainly not the direction I would have wanted to go if I was the decision maker. But, you know, it's up to them what they want to do, and maybe they'll have a satisfying thing. As I said, the original point was just, I don't think having people that have an issue with it, calling them weirdos who don't understand the lore, have never read the books, is just incredibly, like, dishonest. But this feels, anyway. That's the point. I'm trying not to get engaged too much on Twitter. I feel like I shouldn't be doing that. But that's one thing I wanted to discuss. There's a couple other things I was going to mention. There's loads of things recently. I mean, I'm just trying to, you know, a lot of it is just me sort of saying random stuff. Oh, you know, not my actual tweets. It was the like, okay, this was an article by Games Radar that I was absolutely shocked. You know, the 7 best Witcher games to play in 2026 ranked. So I'm not even going to read the logic, to be honest, because I can't be bothered. But they put The Witcher 1 last. They put, hang on, just skip a little bit. They put it below Reigns, The Witcher, and the adventure game, which they put Witcher 1 below. 2 is 4. Witcher 2 is 4th. So you might think, what's above that? Thronebreaker, Gwent. There's no way. Right, the order, I'm just wanting to let you know my order. Witcher 3, of course, is number 1. That makes sense to me. Second for me is probably 2. Third is probably 1. Honestly, that's just how I'm going to go with it. If they make Witcher remake, maybe that could take over Witcher 2, but we'll see. After that, I would put probably... Just in regard to like maybe Thronebreaker, then Gwent, but honestly I like Gwent, it's just I like the story stuff a bit more. So maybe then Thronebreaker, Gwent, then probably the adventure game, and then probably Reigns The Witcher, which to be honest I've never played. But I'm just going to assume is not better than The Witcher 1. That was a crazy article. I can't believe that came up. I was like, I was like 7 best Witcher games. You mean like all the Witcher games other than the phone one? Which too, but it's not like worse than Gwent, the online like multiplayer card game. I mean, Gwent's good, but it's not like that's a mainline Witcher game, you know. I'm fine with her losing her godlike ability. She just would blow through every battle. Again, like that's why I didn't think Ciri would be the obvious choice, because to me it doesn't. I never thought they would remove her Elder Blood, which is such a key part of her. So I was like, that's kind of a boring protagonist, just like incredibly powerful, good at everything. like, because she's now developed that point where she's amazing, you know? And then it's like, oh, the only thing we can do then, it feels contrived. Like, how do we get Ciri to be the next protagonist? Because we really want her to be the protagonist. Well, she can't have the Elder Blood, so let's find a reason to remove it. Ah, she becomes a Witcher. Okay. To me, that doesn't feel like a natural extension of the story. It feels like a kind of, how can we make her a protagonist? Because it doesn't actually fit with the way her story ended, you know? Which is just my opinion. Game journalist is something I don't even know. I feel like it was kind of, you know, rage baiting. I feel like there's no way that people are gonna rank, what even is it? Sorry, I'm not having a go, but Reigns the Witcher over The Witcher 1. Crazy, you know. I couldn't believe that. So there's a couple other things. Yeah, The Witcher 3. There's loads of really interesting things that came out. So let's go back. There's so many. It just goes on and on and on, you know, so many things. I've been paying attention. So I was going to start from here. I have not played Star Wars The Old Republic, but apparently, you know, they're making Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic full of a bunch of old BioWare devs, and I'm interested in Star Wars games, so I thought this could be interesting just to see what is actually going on here, which could be interesting. I've not played through it. Yeah, it'd be good to watch that. We could do it on stream at some point. But at the Game Awards 2025, Lucasfilm revealed Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic, an upcoming spiritual successor to BioWare's beloved Knights of the Old Republic, which I was recommended to play recently. Returning to head up its development is Casey Hudson, project director on Knights of the Old Republic 1 and the Mass Effect series, former BioWare general manager and now co-founder, CEO, and game director at Fate of the Old Republic developer Argonaut Studios. Hudson's history with the series gives the project a noteworthy pedigree, but it wasn't until this week that we had a better sense of who else is handling the return to the Old Republic era. Thanks to a fresh update to its studio page, we now know about Argonaut's development leadership. But hey, turns out it's a bunch of former BioWare folks. Who would have guessed? So previously, Argonaut's site only named Hudson's 3 co-founders, 2 of whom have BioWare histories of their own. Chief Financial Officer Chris Bain, who previously worked as BioWare's Director of Business Development, while Chief Technology Officer Ryan Hoyle was a programmer on BioWare games as far back as 2000. Otherwise, it included a vague description that its teams includes developers who worked together on Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, and the Mass Effect trilogy, alongside talent from around the industry, including Microsoft, Epic, Remedy, the Coalition, ZeniMax, and others. So they're basically, now the page includes the short introductory videos for 4 more of Argonaut's senior and directorial staff, and there's a lot of BioWare legacy in there. So basically they keep going. Loads of different people that worked on loads of different BioWare games, including like stuff with Dragon Age, Anthem, Jade Empire, like loads of different games as well. So basically, in conclusion, it's unclear how much, if any, of the previous Old Republic games will be allowed to re-enter Star Wars canon under Disney's stewardship. The official Star Wars site says Fate of the Old Republic is not a direct sequel or continuation and will introduce new characters for an all-new story. Even if it breaks from the Old Republic series, the successor will clearly have plenty of BioWare blood in the mix. Given that Argonaut only formed in 2025, however, we've likely got a long way to see how it will come together. So This is apparently going to be canon to the actual, ask me every single time, it's going to be canon to the actual, like, Star Wars series. I mean, this is on the official Star Wars YouTube channel. This came out, I remember watching this ages back, 4 months ago, but wasn't there, like, an even older one? I'm getting recommended a bunch of Star Wars things here. It looks good. I love Star Wars. Oh, listen to the music. See, this trailer is already better than the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer for me. It looks graphically incredible, but again, this is not necessarily what the game will look like, right? I mean, Star Wars just always looks awesome, doesn't it? It's such a cool world. So, Fate of the Old Republic, is it? So it's like a sequel, I suppose, obviously, right? They talked about that. So this is the game play? looks interesting. The video is cut off a bit, by the way. Oh, really? Hang on. Oh, I see. Like ever so slightly on the left, isn't it? Whoops. Maybe I can fix that. Why is it so cut off? That is weird. Hang on. Let me fix that. I think I can do this. Oh, no, it didn't work. Hang on. Paste, duplicate. And then bring it down. There's a whole process to do this. And then do this. Oh no, that actually worked somehow. I don't know how. There you go. And then Alt. Option. I don't know why. For some reason I can't like extend it. That's fine though, isn't it? It looks good. Okay, well it's basically exactly the same as what we just saw. I don't think it's too different. It looks good. I mean, there's not an awful lot there. Rewatched Ahsoka, not as bad as I remember it being. You know, I haven't seen Ahsoka yet. That could be interesting thing to watch too. I just heard it was like fine, not like good, not like really good, but fine. Andor was one of my favorite things ever made in Star Wars. You know, that was incredible. People are like, don't be trapped in development hell. Wasn't there like a remake of Knights of the Old Republic that is basically not happening now? Like, Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah, this 4 years ago, which just is basically done, isn't it? It's not even going to happen, I think. And it looks awesome.
They must be stopped.
4 years ago, remade for PS5, and apparently that's just stopped. Hayden Christensen, he's great. I mean, in the prequels, like as much as I grew up on the prequels, I love the prequels, but his acting is sometimes good, sometimes really bad in the prequels. Like sometimes, you know, it's also the script, I think, and George Lucas didn't have enough pushback. But all in all, I love the prequels. I just think
now they wield it.
You know, I can admit that some of the acting is questionable in it, you know. But he's great recently. I think also improved a lot. And I also think it's to do with the script back then. That's a big part. But it looks great. Looks great. And I love Star Wars, so I'm always happy to see that. I do hope that this game actually gets made as well. Fate of the Old Republic, and I hope it's really good. I mean, you know, talking about Star Wars, Jedi Survivor. It's nice to see Star Wars. I think Star Wars, with games, it seems to be where it's going. There's a comment here that actually says that it's a Sith ship, which is interesting. That's interesting. So it's going to be like an action RPG. Disappointed they went with action RPG. Interesting. Such a good game. I'd love to play it. I really should. It looks cool. So that was one thing anyway. Let's continue and see what else there is. So this was something that I just wanted to talk about with you guys. George just wasn't the best director. Yeah, I think like George Lucas is perfectly used, or is used the right word, but he's better when he's not given like complete creative freedom to do what he wants. It should be like, George, write the story, make a really good story, make a script, and then give it over to some other people to slightly adjust and fix some of the dialogue a bit, and then adjust slightly and do some of the direction as well. Do the directing, and then I think it should come out pretty well. I think that's the issue. But anyway, this person mentioned this, and I don't want to. I'm not calling this random person out. They can think what they want. I just wanted. It was an interesting topic. They said they finished their playthrough of The Witcher 3 and they didn't enjoy Novigrad, and I was like, oh wow, They didn't like following Triss around. They didn't love how every completed quest spawned 2 more. They didn't think the events of the city were very interesting. They enjoyed Velen, Skellige, but Novigrad was a bit of a slog. Me too. I thought, Novigrad is one of my favorite parts of the entire, all of the game is great, to be honest, but more than Velen, I don't know. I think the Bloody Baron just had a great storyline, but as an environment to do quests in, I thought Novigrad is so cool, It's like the first time in a video game I felt like I was actually in a city. I felt like the missions were fun, like, the Cabaret mission I'm thinking of at the moment with, the coroner, everything with Dijkstra. I was thinking of even like the Cat School armor stuff. I was thinking of just like even the main quest line, like everything with Manga. Going around to Triss's house, helping the mages escape, going to the dinner party, the garden party. Like, me too. I love it all as well. I thought like I they said they didn't enjoy Novigrad. I was like, what? Like, I felt like that was to go from Velen, like you're sort of in the sticks, as we would call it, but in the countryside, you know, you're with the Baron, it's all cool, you're exploring the sort of wilderness a bit, which is great. To be like in the middle of this kind of city was great. You know, I really enjoyed it. I think they could have done a little bit more with the Big Five, you know, and maybe done a bit more of the intrigue in the city, like slightly, but like it still was very enjoyable and an awesome like environment to quest in. And I loved going into the bookshop and finding the note from Alvin and stuff like that as well, and everything with like Hattori, and I thought it was great. I thought it was one of the coolest zones in any game ever, you know, and maybe, I suppose they're talking more about the quest quality, but I didn't feel like, it's different to being out in Skellige or Velen where you're in nature, right, a bit, but it's that comparison that makes it so interesting to me. Skellige, good, just the environment and quest. Yeah. Velen, yeah. The OST in Skellige with the beautiful vocals. Yeah, I mean, Skellige's awesome. But yet again, you could have some criticism for the points of interest, right, with just going around forever. But I feel like Novigrad was awesome. You know, Novigrad is one of the coolest parts of the game, and yet again, they have their opinion, but I was very curious what, you know, I guess we're all in agreement, right? Novigrad's awesome. Yeah, having the gangs play a bigger role and stuff, I think that's just like how they could make it better, but what we got was still great. Someone said they had the same opinion. I like Novigrad, but Velen Skellige was just amazing for my soul. I feel like, would I say it's the weakest zone in the game? Probably not. What would be the weakest zone? It's really, I don't think there is one. They're all just so good, honestly. Like, really, it is like, Skellige has the amazing music and the sort of environment there, and the boat, obviously, like you can go around to different like little islands and things. And then you obviously have Velen, which is just such a cool zone with like the crones and everything. Yeah, Blood and Wine, like Toussaint is maybe my favorite zone in the game. Just I don't know. I love Toussaint. It always makes me like, it's like I'm on a holiday when I'm there. And then I would say the White Orchard is probably the weakest, but it's a bit unfair. You know, Oxenfurt, just, I guess, yeah, like Oxenfurt. But even then, think of everything in the Hearts of Stone expansion with Oxenfurt and going to the auction house and, you know, going to the Oxenfurt University. There's some cool stuff there. It's meant to be smaller than Novigrad, I guess. Area around as well, yeah. True, as well, with everything with the Order of the Flaming Nose, as we call it. There is some, yeah, maybe Oxenfurt, yeah. I mean, White Orchard, sort of, in a way, but it is the starting zone, so it's very hard to sort of call it the weakest zone. The Isle of Mists, could I say that? That's a kind of cop-out answer, isn't it? Or what about one of the worlds you travel to on the way with Avallac'h? Like, the underwater section. That world, it was the weakest zone. They should have had more quests in there. Hearts of Stone adding the old folk cannibal. Yeah, exactly. Creepy storytelling. You also have like Olgierd's home in that area, of course, right? I mean, Dead Man's Party as well. Like going to the wedding party and things like that. Like, I feel like it's, to me, I honestly couldn't say the weakest zone or my least favorite. I would be, I know this is going to be like blasphemy because the music is amazing, the quests are amazing, but if to quote a British comedy called Peep Show, if the men came with a gun and said you've got to remove one place, oh my god. Okay, let's say the options are Novigrad, Velen, Skellige. Right, so you get all of Novigrad and stuff, not just the city, but like the surrounding area. Velen, I don't know. You could say Novigrad and Oxenfurt. It's not really fair though, is it? It's like slightly different, but they're kind of like part of the same section, weirdly in ways. I don't know. Maybe not. I think it's like almost impossible. I'm leaning towards Skellige only because I really think if The Witcher 3 didn't have Novigrad, it's like, you know, I'm trying to think. You have a nature zone and like a city zone. And I feel like Novigrad is so important to me in that way. And it would be such a... but then Skellige is awesome and like the kind of, you know, it's just awesome. So it's so hard to like say that. I can't decide. Legitimately can't decide. Yeah, exactly. I think you can't decide. I think for me, I don't find it weak at all. That's just my opinion. But yet again, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and it's engaged in an interesting conversation. If I had to remove one area, it would be Oxenfurt, because it could just be an area for Hearts of Stone. But logically, exactly. They didn't do much there, and they very much made it like the zone for Hearts of Stone. But in a sense, you could then call it just the Hearts of Stone area, but it was just accessible in the Witcher 3 base game. I guess it is the weakest, though, if you think of it in that way. But then if you include the surrounding area, right, with everything with Olgierd and the Hearts of Stone expansion, then it's like suddenly one of the strongest. So the quest in Velen, so unfortunately, yeah, that's why I was thinking it too, because I thought I can't remove the Bloody Baron stuff, because everything with the Bloody Baron and the Crones even was like, some people say it's like a slog, the beginning of the game. I disagree. Like, for me, that moment where you're bringing the Barons, if you decide to bring Dea, right, his sort of botchling, up to his keep to bury her, to then turn her into a Lubberkin, to then go and find, Tamara and everything. Like, that section where you could make that decision was the point where I was like, wow, this is like an amazing game. And it's like so stuck in my head. To be fair, the surrounding area is mostly only able to be done with Hearts of Stone due to the levels for that. Yeah, true, as well. But Skellige feels like a breath of, pure fresh air. It does. It just so like... It's so different. You get there and you're like, whoa, where have I come? It's a bit like, sort of like the difference with Toussaint as well, right? Where that's just like so significantly different. Very hard. I don't think we have to decide to take one out, and I think it's so hard to do so. And then I'm just... Yeah, we'll continue with this. Yeah, it was just awesome stuff about the music. There was some stuff about Blood of Dawnwalker. There's not an awful lot here. I'm probably not gonna... I mean, it was just basically like... Creative director of the Blood of Dawnwalker, I'm so bad, I'm sorry with the names. Mateus Thomas Kiwis spoke about similarities to other games, including Gothic, compared to today's hits. Piranha Bytes' work had a smaller yet more condensed world. We can expect the same in the Blood of Dawnwalker. I feel tired of games that are definitely too big. I don't have that much time, and I prefer more condensed experiences, but I still like open worlds. Some of my favorites from the past were, for example, games from the Gothic series. They had smaller worlds, but they were really dense with lots of detail, characters, quests. They made you feel like in a really lived place. I agree to an extent. I do agree. I think that, I think that, like, I like big worlds, because even in the real world, there's so many places where there's basically nothing for miles, then suddenly, like, awesome settlements. And I think The Witcher 3 did that really well. Like, there was points where there's not an awful lot, but then there's little quests and little points of interest, of course. But then there are points where, like, you've got these massive cities like Novigrad or villages or places like Crow's Perch and stuff. So I kind of agree, but also I think that, like, if it's a trade-off, if you decide either... really open world with like kind of less detail and like just basically the cities are kind of crap, then I would definitely prefer like a smaller, dense game with stuff. But if you can balance both in a clever way, I think I prefer that. That's just my opinion, The markers never bothered me. Oh, you mean the Skellige stuff? Yeah, this is fun. Underwater combat, that was great with The Witcher 3. The crossbow, although firing them underwater is kind of like not very accurate, I guess. But that's, I don't know. I get what he's saying, though. I do think having a denser world is great. Wins a winner. This was just a joke. Okay, he's almost finished, but it's taking him ages, basically. I mean, there's not a lot there. Yeah, this was about like Star Wars, which I thought would be an interesting conversation. Like, I made a video recently talking about like how there was some rumors which are very unsubstantiated, but it was an interesting discussion point about the sequel trilogy being removed from canon. But what do you guys think about Kylo Ren? Like, if you guys have seen the sequel trilogy, I liked Kylo Ren. I thought he was the best part of all of those films. The Rise of Skywalker, I didn't really like. I thought The Rise of Skywalker was the worst of the sequel films, honestly, even though they kind of tried to fix a bunch of stuff that went wrong in The Last Jedi. I just felt like as a film, it was just so, like, crazy, basically, like bringing back Palpatine and everything. But I really liked Kylo Ren. I would love to see him return if... The only reason I don't want him to return is because, to be honest, I'd rather they just remove the sequel trilogy. And if that means he's gone, he's gone. But at the same time, like, if they're not going to do it, and they're sticking with it, and that's probably what's going to happen, I'd like to see him come back. I mean, I know he's dead, but they've changed that before, and I feel like he was kind of an interesting part, and it depends how they explore his character, and it depends what they do with him, because he's kind of like, his story's kind of finished. Yeah, an origin story. Like, the thing is, they kind of showed it in The Last Jedi, right? Like, he was Han and Leia's son. He went to train with Luke. Luke was going to kill him because he saw some future, and then he basically, you know, burnt down the whole thing and, well, you know, then became evil. But I guess you could show that, which would be really interesting. It's just, I think the problem is it's so connected to the sequels, people just aren't going to be happy, you know? There's no way Disney will accept that defeat. They've put I also, like, I made the video and I talked about it, but I don't think they're going to remove them from canon. I just think it's just not, like, viable at this point. I think the only thing that would lead to them removing it from canon, and this is what I said in the video, and people were like, what, you want that? And I'm like, no, I don't want that, but I think this is how they would handle it, is just remaking the entire, like, series with new actors, basically. So, I said series, and my phone Siri turned on. But, you know, you'd have to remake the entire, like, original trilogy, prequels, original, and then make, like, new sequels, basically, and change the story completely. So go with George Lucas's original plan, even for the sequels, but remake the entire thing. Because I think decanonizing the sequels and then remaking them all would just be, like, it doesn't guarantee Disney enough money. I think they need to have all the main characters back, like Luke Skywalker and everything, even if they're recast, and then remake the entire story and include that. And I wouldn't want them to do that. Definitely wouldn't want them to do that. But I don't see how else you're gonna, like, do like with the Harry Potter stuff, right? But maybe do the casting as accurate as you can. I think that's probably the way you would make money at this point. I don't really know. You know, people are saying they could do the extended universe stuff and recast, like, you know, Mark Hamill and everything like that, and Harrison Ford stuff. Get the guy that did Solo, I forget his name. But I'm also like, it might make money, but, like, I don't really know, you know? Like, would it? I mean, is it enough for Disney to warrant doing it? I don't know, especially considering they'd be recasting everyone anyway. You know, wouldn't it make sense for them just to redo the entire thing, even if people are going to be less into it than the original films? Because they would be doing it for the new generation, mainly. And these stories theoretically are universal in the sense that, like, you could do it, and then they could spin it. They could basically also then do all the Clone Wars stuff as well. They wouldn't necessarily have to do all the prequel stuff, like, sequentially in the same way. They could include all the Clone Wars animated stuff and adapt it to be, like, good for film. So it would be, like, sort of everything that's happened since in this kind of mismatch of, like, all these different Star Wars projects, which is what makes it great, and I don't want them to do it yet again. I would imagine them just remaking the whole thing and then including all this material and then being able to have this, like, expansive, coherent kind of universe thing. I don't want them to do it, but that's my prediction for what they would do, instead of, like, deleting the sequel trilogy and remaking it, because you still have the issue of Carrie Fisher's passed away and there'll be recastings and everything. I mean, Disney did do George Lucas. They did so badly. Like, he trusted Kathleen Kennedy because, you know, he kind of basically got her the position she was in, and Bob Iger, and he felt like, yeah, here's my sort of idea for the sequels, and this is what you can work on and go with. And they were like, yeah, and they bought it, and they're like, yeah, well, we own it, so actually we think it's a bad idea, and we're gonna copy your first film again as a remake, with, like, a slightly different story, and then we're just gonna baton the rest of them into random directors. That's our strat, which didn't work out well. But I like Kylo, but they never should have redeemed him. The original script for Episode 9 got him right and let him be the unredeemable version of Vader. He was fully committed. That would have been cool. That would have been really cool. Like, but he's, like, an understandable in the sense that he's like, I'm going to make the world better. It's going to be better, and I'm going to do it better this time. I also think, like, just there was issues with Rey as well. I'll get into that. That's going to be something. That would be done properly. And then somehow Palpatine returned. Yes, he did return, and not for long, you know? I mean, there was... Actually, I think I liked a thing related to Rey, which I thought could be interesting to discuss too. That was John Boyega. And there was something about Rey, but I maybe don't have it now. I don't... It was about, like, how people... Daisy Ridley said something like, people that dislike Rey, it's because of, you know, sexism or something like that. And I just thought, it's actually not. I remember when I first watched Star Wars back in 2015, I went the day it released. I didn't stay up till midnight, but I did go the day it released. Someone actually spoiled it for me, which was very annoying. I really enjoyed it, but the only thing that got me was like, oh, how did she beat Kylo Ren in a fight at the end? Because even though he was injured, like, you know, even if you're injured, if you've been training your entire life for like being a warrior, it just made him look really bad and inexperienced and kind of awful. And it made her look like comparatively like very skilled. Like, look at Finn, he just got knocked out immediately, basically, right? Couldn't do much. But Rey, she was like holding toe to toe for quite a while, and it felt quite sort of like you know, just kind of like, oh, how did she manage to do that? And it's like, well, no, she was a bound sort of, you know, in a scrapyard, living on the edge all the time. I'm like, but does that make you like an incredible fighter with a lightsaber? I don't know. And also, the whole point of a lightsaber is you're meant to be able to use the Force. It was loads of other things, like how can she just use her Force ability to like control the stormtroopers straight away? You know, Luke had to like train for quite a period to be able to do anything, really. Like, the most he did with the Force toward the like end of the film really was just when he managed to guide the he managed to shoot at the correct time to destroy the Death Star, and then he had to go through training, and then he slowly got better, and by the third film he's gone through that. But Rey was like surpassing that in every way without any obvious reason. And even Anakin in the first film, he's a kid, of course, but he like, you know, there was some issues with that, but he wasn't like beating people like significantly better than him. And they have this progression to the third film where he gets better and better, and he is the chosen one. You can't have another the chosen one. You know, his story makes slight sense. And then, you know, he wasn't a perfect character, of course, because he was also like, he turned to Darth Vader, is evil. So just literally magically, yeah, Rey was able to like drive the what's the Millennium Falcon like immediately, all this stuff. Just, and it wasn't the fact that like, okay, maybe she knows how to fly ships, sure. I mean, she did it really amazingly, but maybe she just like, she's got that skill. But then that and the lightsaber stuff and using all the Force abilities straight away, it was just too much for people. Were kind of like, okay, this is like starting to break. Yet again, going back to the Siri thing, it's not written in the law that it never could be, but the world has established rules that when you see something happen, you're like, that's kind of, why did that suddenly happen? How can we explain that well? And with the answer with Rey was just, oh, she's just really good at everything, which is not a satisfying answer, hence why you need something a bit more than that. They tried to redeem it with her, she's a Palpatine, but even that to me is not like satisfying whatsoever. And also the whole, like, I'm a Skywalker thing, to me, it was like, yeah, you're not, though, you know, like, that's, like, a very particular lineage, and you have, you know, they were born that way, you know, basically. So, it's so weird seeing Kathy Kennedy just completely fumble the IP, because she's one of the finest producers there's been. Just look at the movie she helped make, just had no idea what to do with Star Wars. It's like she did stuff just to spite. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what their plan was, and I think Rey could have been such an interesting character. I just think, also, Daisy Ridley is, like, kind of interesting person. I think she's like a pretty decent actress, you know? So I just think they basically just... It's because they didn't have an overarching arc for her character. They just, as they said, it was like the baton of film to film to film. And again, with the Luke thing, like he's meant to be this hopeful character and they made him just like depressed, which I thought was actually quite interesting. It was the fact that they just decided to kill him through like, I don't know, exerting himself too much with the Force. So lame. It should have been like he redeemed himself a bit, and then the third film he plays more of a sort of central role, trying to resolve everything with Kylo, being hopeful, whatever. But even his whole thing about like wanting to kill Kylo just shouldn't have really happened, you know? And throwing away the lightsaber as well, and drinking the milk, and just all this weird stuff. There were so many issues with those films. The movies after The Force Awakens feel like they just put her through training so that, yeah, exactly, she's like, we've already made her really strong, but now we have to kind of prove that she is now becoming stronger, even though she can already do everything already. Because, you know, even with, like, the guard with Kylo, there's even all those issues, there's so many issues with the sequels. Like, do you know when they're fighting the Red Guard, and you can see in the fight choreography that they're, like, ducking? No, they're preparing to block the shot before they've done it, or they're, like, ducking before they've even started throwing the lightsaber. Just obvious things that wouldn't work, or moving in the way of where the lightsaber's going to go and stuff like that. Luke is the gold standard Star Wars hero. His most impactful moment is his failure on Bespin. Colors his whole ascent to Jedi Master. Rey never... Yeah, exactly. He actually has, like, moments where he fails. And then at the end of Empire Strikes Back, he gets his hand cut off. He finds out his father is actually, like, this evil guy. They lose, basically. He loses Han Solo. you know, all the plan basically fails. He doesn't actually like continue with the entire of Yoda's training, so he's not prepared and everything, and he loses to Darth Vader, of course. So there's like all loads of failure, right, with Luke. Regretfully, I have to go. No problem. I'm going to head off relatively soon. There's a couple more things I thought about talking about, but no problem. Have a good night. Love to go. But Rian Johnson just made a Star Wars movie to subvert everything. Some of it would have been fine, but yeah, exactly. Some of it would have been fine. Yet again, having Luke kind of like fall out of touch with the Force a bit, it could have been a really interesting way to link with the prequels. Like maybe he went and found the Jedi texts and realized they were always kind of corrupt and stuff, and they fell with the Emperor, and he's still hopeful or whatever, or he just... I don't know, like, it could have been an interesting idea, but again, like, the ending of Luke just sort of disappearing into nothing because he exerted himself was a bit like, oh, okay, like, he wasn't even that old, you know, it's not like Yoda. So, yet again, apparently John Boyega might be having talks to Lucasfilm about returning as Finn. I don't know about that. I think, like, he could have had a really interesting story becoming a Jedi from Stormtrooper, or not even necessarily Jedi, like Force sensitive and having that whole thing, but they kind of fumbled that massively. I always felt bad for him because he got kind of the short end of the stick in every single one of those films. Like, he should have had a bigger role. But also, like, John Boyega is kind of like, I don't know, I know he said a bunch of, like, stuff about Disney kind of negatively, so I'd be surprised if they brought him back. Yeah, Canto Bight Casino. Yeah, the Canto Bight Casino world. That was a mess as well. Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm missing any messages, by the way, because I am just talking for, like, ages. But yeah, you know, kind of like, I don't know. We'll see about what they do with the sequels. I doubt they're going to make them not canon. There's so many possibilities to it. Yeah, being lectured on greed by Disney and Star Wars is crazy. But anyway, yeah, there was something about Black Flag, but it's pretty much what we've already seen. It just looks cool, you know? I'm so excited for Black Flag. Look at it. Oh, look at the weather. It looks so good. I mean, it's basically what we've seen here. I mean, yeah, there's some more stuff about, like, full version of the gameplay. We can get... I don't need to get into that. One thing I wanted to... Oh, Snoke. Yet again, just disappointing. Like, I always felt it was slightly contrived, because, you know, you had Palpatine, Empire's defeated, you know, balance is brought to the light and good, and no, there's a new big bad, you know, it's like, okay. But I thought Andy Serkis did really well. I thought it was really cool, intimidating character in that way. But I think it was just the fact he was a clone in a vat that Palpatine made to, like, basically just continue. I don't know. It was kind of, like, lame, generally. Yeah, I mean, there's so many other things I wanted to talk about today, but to be honest, I do have to head off relatively soon. I mean, there's loads of things. There's loads of things. Maybe I could talk about it tomorrow or something like that. Yeah, I'll do that because I've talked about so much stuff today. But yeah, you know what? I'm gonna head off. It's been 3 hours exactly, and I said I would limit myself a bit. But it's been really fun to stream today. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Thank you as well, Tastus. Thank you. You know, everyone, Laughter Girl, Joker, of course. Punvia was here earlier. I hope I'm saying it correctly. I'm so bad at that kind of thing, names. But they're not the easiest names. We also had Merple the Purple as well. You know, it's all good. I think there was some good stuff in the sequels, just generally. Not as good as it could have been. But yeah, see you guys later. Anyone else as well that I missed, sorry about that. But, you know, nice to see you guys. See you next time. Anyone lurking as well. See you guys, new videos soon. I might be doing some live stuff tomorrow. We'll see. I might be slightly busy. But I'll try and do something again relatively soon. If not tomorrow, the day after or something like that. So, see you guys. Thanks for watching.